Let's do the damn thing.
It's that time, so let's take it to the Birdland. That Baltimore home flavor is coming firsthand. Fred, Scott, and Ryan, tell them the word, man. Mix in a little BS to make it work, man. Boys, they got it on excitement, the topic. Make sure when they toss you the ball, you don't drop it. With all that swag, you're gonna listen regardless. Here comes the pitch, so it's time to get it started. It's Birdland BS.
Hey, yes. I'm in the big chair, bro. I swear I did do the damn thing. Scott didn't press the unmute button. Let's do the damn thing.
That's my fault. Fred, you've changed quite a lot.
Yeah, the big chair over here is much more comfy. I like this one. We're going to upgrade Scott's chair at some point.
Hey, well, you were in that chair last time you sat over
Well,
there.
whatever chair I sat in, it was on top of some toilet paper and stuff, so this is much nicer. Upgrade the chair situation. We're looking for a chair sponsor. Anyone out there that owns a furniture store, an Office Depot, call Birdland BS. We need a chair sponsor, bro.
What's going on, guys? If you don't know who that is, you haven't been watching long enough. That's Turf's BS expert Ryan, who's filling in for Fred this week. You got some big shoes to fill, buddy.
Yeah, big shoes, big hat, all the things.
All right, I'm not going to go there. We also got over on the producer desk, we've got James over there, and then we've got special guests. You've seen him in the chat room.
Heavy chatter.
I just like talking to everybody, so I will try to chat as much here as I do in the chat room.
That might be a bad thing. We should have rethought this. I don't know.
All right. As long as we get those little finger signals, we'll be good to go.
I'll leave that at one beer, then we'll be all right.
Yeah, right. All right, guys. We had a good show for you guys this week. Even with Fred without Fred being here, Fred well wishes, buddy. He's not really feeling well today, so that's why everybody's kind of shifted around. So for this week, we got to talk Ravens. We got the DC win, but did we really truly recover from the loss to the Chiefs?
I mean, recovered. I don't know if we played our best game of the year. We'll have to keep getting better.
We'll put recovered in quotes for now. The Bengals coming to the bank this week with the hot-handed QB, rookie QB, who is looking to tear up this defense. Joe Burrows is – can you imagine him in a different offense?
Yeah, I mean, if he could stand up straight, that's his thing. That's a good offense. He got good receivers. He just has no offensive line. So he would be scary if he was standing up straight.
Yeah. Primetime predictions were – Ryan, you were a little off last week.
It happens. I had my lead. I'm still tied for the lead. I'm just giving you all a chance.
Everybody's within one game.
And nobody can say I went for the easy calls this week. I shot my shot on the Falcons and got proved wrong.
Yeah, you got that completely wrong. And then the O's are going to shed some weight, but not the good kind. I'm interested to get your guys' take on what's happened and who they've let go on the staff. But
money.
Before we get into the show, Ryan, who's our sponsor?
We got a great sponsor today and most Tuesdays. I got injured at work or in an auto accident, not sure who to call. 855-MD-CRASH are the Maryland personal injury attorneys that have your back. If you've been in the unfortunate situation of getting injured at work or in a car crash, and I know my wife has, I've been in a few accidents. I can't remember getting hurt. We all know that the cost of medical bills and wages and pain and suffering can add up quickly, put you in a bad financial situation. If you want a team that'll handle your case, big or small, give MD Crash a call. Save this number now, 855-MD-CRASH. That's 855-632-7274. Be sure to follow them on Facebook for fun giveaways when the games come back, and for right now, some food around town.
All right, it's time for some flock talk. Ravens this week obviously beat that unnamed team because I'm not calling them the football team. I'm not.
I mean, you need to win a game in order to be called the football team. Like the U got there because they were actually good. They shouldn't be called the U anymore, but they earned it at some point.
I mean, is football team a term we're using loosely now?
Yeah, I mean, they're a team.
That's debatable.
They all go to the same building on the same day. I mean, it's pretty much a team.
Sounds like convenience. But listen, the Ravens win 31-17. After their first regular season game, or their first regular season game after a loss in a year. We saw it last year. John Harbaugh actually has a pretty good record in recovering from losses. Very, very few times does he not win. Last year was the first time that we saw him lose back-to-back games. I know we kind of all expected this, but before we get into the game, we've got to touch on what happened before the game, and that was Marlon Fruit Punch Humphrey.
Fruit punch. I don't know if it's a fruit, but it's a punch. He punches a lot.
Yeah. He signs a 5-year, $98 million extension.
All right. I'll do that. You need somebody to wash your car? I mean, I know Earl Thomas is having trouble getting that done. So if Marlon, you need somebody to wash your car, I could take $1 million or so.
Yeah, right. So the social media reaction on this was so mixed. I was completely surprised. I don't know if you guys paid attention to any of this, but there were so many people saying, "Oh, he's overpaid. We should be paying Judon that money." I saw people after the last night's game. Oh, the money we paid Marlon Humphrey should have gone to pay Zadarius Smith because we should have kept him. Blah blah blah.
Have they seen Patrick Queen play? What do we need?
Right, exactly. We're gonna get to that part later, but let's break down the numbers of his signing. Right, he got a $20 million signing bonus. And he's going to also get a $15 million option bonus in 2021. There also, his 2020 base salary is going to remain at $2.08 million, but his cap hit's going to go up by $4 million. So it's going to be $6 million overall. And that's due to the proration of the signing bonus. So his base salaries
is good. Yeah.
2.8, 3.2, 10, 10.5, 11, 14, 15. That's how it works out through 2026.
Are we going to be able to get him to $15 million when you got Lamar and everybody else on that team?
I mean, the contract signed unless you're going to trade him at some point. That would be the only way that you could get some of this cap space back, or you later on you go and you give him another extension and try to prorate some of that salary again.
Yeah.
The cap hit numbers for him are a little bit different. 7.7 for 2020. 10.2 2021, then it jumps to 17 and a half. So that's a $7 million cap hit over what he's being paid, plus 18.7. Then in 2025, it hits its highest at $21 million on the cap.
We really better hope that the NFL starts making some money. We get fans back in the seats because we need that salary cap going up.
Yeah,
because that's quarterback money today.
Yeah, you're starting to get expensive here. 19.25 in 2026. And
he's great. I mean, he's one of the top corners, if not the top corner in the league. You got to pay somebody in that position.
Well, here's the other kicker too. In 2025 and 2026, this is all due to Brian McFarland at Ravens salary. He says in 2025 and 2026, the deal includes $1 million in incentives, and each of those 2 years is a $4 million roster bonus. So that's an additional cap hit that you could be seeing. We could be seeing a 25 and 19, or I'm sorry, 25 and $23 million cap hit.
Well, like I said, as long as we get the cap room going, we'll be fine.
As long as he keeps playing the way that he's playing, I'm fine with that.
Oh, he seems to be willing to earn his money. I mean, he didn't take the Chris Davis route. He didn't get signed and then do nothing. He definitely played a great game this week.
Yeah. Well, we're talking defense, so let's jump to the defensive side of the ball first.
Okay.
Right. So we're talking about Marlon Humphrey, who Fred and I have said, and I'm interested to get your take because we haven't really talked to you about this in depth. We think that Marlon Humphrey is our best cornerback, period. There's people that argue it's Marcus Peters. To me, there's too much risk versus reward with him to justify. Marlon Humphrey's a lockdown, and then the fact that he's so good at punching the ball out it just makes it better. But the cornerback play in this game, outside of Marlon Humphrey, it was nothing to be proud of as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think Marlon Humphreys is definitely our most complete corner, which is definitely why I would say he is our best corner. Patrick Peters, or definitely Marcus Peters. I'm sorry. Definitely has the flash. He definitely gets the interceptions, the return yardage. He's always gambling, which I do enjoy. That's some of the fun of the Ravens defense is that they play to score. Like that's what they've done in the past. So he definitely fits that fun Ravens technique. But if I'm just going to pick one for one at the same value, I'm definitely going to take Humphrey.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. When you look at the passing game, right, and some of this is over the middle, and I get it. But the passing game, we gave up 314 passing yards to Dwayne Haskins and this football team offense.
Yeah, I mean, about 7.5 yardage of that was in the air. I think most of that was just McLaurin and Gibson getting work
on the
done.
2 yarders and keep going.
But it was not what I expected to see. We did pretty well. I definitely expected more of a blowout. Put a little money on it being a blowout. Didn't work great for me.
the thing that, obviously we talked about Marlon, him with that big punch out yet again, the fruit punch, showing why he got paid the way that he did.
The best in the league at that.
He is. He really, truly is. And Wink afterwards even said, we have those drills, but he definitely is one of the best in the NFL.
Oh, it's natural. He did that way before he got to the Ravens.
Right,
That's
exactly.
just his thing.
He's always been good at it, and he continues to do it. And again, that's why he's worth that hashtag fruit punch money.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's exactly what he does. But he's also that lockdown. Not very often were you hearing his name called, and when his name was being called, it was because he swarmed to the ball.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's what you want out of your best corner. He can get to the ball. He can play sideline to sideline if need be. But you also can't let him – we continue to see him blitz a little bit in this game. We got to get away from that, in my opinion.
I think that when you talk about his punch, that's one of the big difference between him and Peters. So they both are definitely going for the turnover. That's the big thing.
Right, yeah.
But Peters doesn't really have that ability. He's not overly strong. He doesn't have that technique. So he's cutting routes. He's trying to do it with his head. He's trying to get there first. When Humphreys, you sometimes will see him like drop back and time the pass to let the player get it. Like if he's got hands out, you'll see him like, okay, well, I know it's coming to the front of him, so I'm going to take this angle, and as soon as he gets this, we're putting this on the ground.
He's going to catch it.
He's not
this
jumping
way
in front. Yeah,
like
you definitely see him gambling. It's not even a gamble because you can still make the tackle at that point.
Well, I think
So
that's I think that's the difference is that he's able to make that tackle, and that's why he doesn't look as silly. That's why he's also a little bit more of a lockdown guy because he plays his man. He doesn't play the ball.
Yeah, he's definitely strong, and that's why some people are sending him on these blitz, the question that you're asking, that he's the bigger corner, the one that can do that. But since he is your best corner, it's kind of a waste. You can definitely have other people moving around. You have Jimmy Smith that could make that blitz. You could send a safety. I mean, we saw Elliott lay a hell of a hit in that game. So we could put that on a quarterback once or twice. It would be nice.
Yeah,
he took himself out. He hit so hard.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. You push him on a few rushes, but we talk about the blitzing. The thing that I was really impressed by in this game, I shouldn't say impressed. I was happy to see it evolve in this game and step up. Was the pass rush in this game? We had 3 total sacks, 9 hits on the quarterback. Matt Judon with 2 sacks.
Judon was listening last week. He
got
sick of hearing us talk trash.
Yeah. Well, not only did Judon have the 2 sacks, but he also had 6 hits on the QB. He was getting pressure.
He was
all
playing
game
well
long.
for sure. I mean, let's hope that Judon was just one of those players that needed preseason that didn't do it on his own. I'm gonna go to Drew here, our guest speaker.
Just decided he would show up because he wanted the money that Marlon was getting.
He saw the Ravens were willing to pay.
Yeah,
if they're not going to pay now, then by week 7 he'll go back to normal.
it's interesting. Like, so one of the things that was brought up was Marlon apparently said like Judon was hard on himself after the Chief game. Judon was not happy, and so he put in the work this week.
He wasn't the only one that should have been hard on themselves after the Chief game. They all should have been looking in the mirror after that. I mean,
yeah.
Kansas City might as well call him daddy at this point. I don't know what he can do.
Yeah, that was all over social media. We saw that enough, Ryan. But another guy that showed up in this game fairly well, like he did in week 1, Patrick Queen.
You can't ask for more, man. Patrick Queen's been all over the place. He's strong. He's quick. He's getting his hand on the ball in lots of different ways. He's batting down passes. He's getting to the fumbles. He was right there for the strip with Marlon.
Yeah.
He's the total package. I think they got a good one.
Yeah, I mean, 12 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss in this game. And then what had to be a potential, I would say, play of the game, in my opinion, the goal line jump stop.
the one-handed jump stop.
Yeah.
He was completely crushed at his waist, so he just goes, "You can't come in here."
Like still to have that, in that situation, you're that much out of the play, so to speak, and you still have the wherewithal to get up there and stop the guy.
I don't know what he's been working. That's the overhead cables, I guess, man. Just get it in there.
Can we get him in with Sticks, please?
Yeah, Sticks looks good.
Sticks does look good now. But no, huge game defensively. Despite, there were some scores, there were some holes that we talked about. But let's flip over to the offensive side of the ball, right? Obviously, the biggest question mark around this year, Lamar's passing. That's all we've heard. It's all we've heard on social media. It's all we've heard out of the fans. This game, 14 for 21, 193 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. It's his first pick in 160 attempts.
Yeah, and it was poorly timed right before half, right? That was that the
that was the one right before half.
He was trying to push down and get some points. It happens. We were all waiting for it to happen. I saw a lot less drop passes. I don't know what the stats are. I don't know if you see that in front of you or not, but I saw a lot less drop passes. So that's a big thing. Did he pass better this week? I don't know, but they sure didn't bounce off the receiver's hands every other play like they did versus the Chiefs.
Yeah, no, I think with this one, the one play that we're talking about with the interception, when I go back and watch it, I watched it was towards Miles Boykin.
Mm-hmm.
Boykin pulled his hands down. Twice in this game that I saw, Boykin didn't even seem to make an attempt to go up to get the ball.
I don't like what you're putting down, because if that's true, that means Lamar is going to see it, and Lamar not having faith in Boykin is where we were last year, and that's not a good place to be.
No, it's not, and that's what worries me. And the second half of that game, he had a few attempts at Boykin, but it wasn't spread out. We had 8 different receivers in this game, but yet again, he favored Andrews and Brown. He's not picked. I think Boykin got I don't know what the targets were, but I think Boykin had 3. So in this game, he continues, to lose faith. If that's the case, I don't know what it is, but something's just not working there. It's just not working out how we want it to.
And the targets for Brown, at least the ones they're getting hooked up with, are so much different. There's more of these crossing routes, more of these short patterns. They're not connecting deep like they were last year, really. They're trying it, but he's just not there.
So in a game like this, yes, I know that they're trying it, but I also think this is a type of game that you're doing that with, because you're setting up the fact that Hollywood's not afraid to go in the middle, right? He's not going to shy away from the middle. So if he makes a cut towards the middle, now your safety bites in, thinking he's going to get a shot in the middle. He does a double move and goes off, and now you've got him in the end zone.
And as we're going to talk about, our O-line was all kinds of messed around, and so you didn't have a lot of time to stand back there and get the deep ball.
Well, let's talk about that, because he did get sacked in this game. But that wasn't the big story to me. He had to throw the ball on the run a lot, which caused some overshooting on his deep shots at times. And he had to scramble so much.
Yeah, it also caused me to lose my fantasy game to James over here, and that's just unacceptable.
Yeah. So you said it's the O-line. What did you see out of the O-line in this game?
Well, the big story is that Ronnie Stanley missed the game, and that's your best offensive lineman. I mean, I don't think there's much argument about that at this point.
No.
So he's out of the game. Big ol' Zeus Jr. Moved over to left tackle, which was interesting. Fluker played the right tackle, which is also interesting because he's been a guard for the last few years.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I saw was that Zeus looked better on the left side than he has on the right side all year. So I don't know what's going on there, but it's an interesting factoid. We were playing against a beat-up Washington defense. There was no Trace Young with their second overall pick to play against. So it would have been interesting to see him versus top-notch talent in that position. But I thought he looked pretty damn good for switching right before game time.
He did look. I mean, they made the call on Friday, and so he got some practice in. He did a pretty good job. There was a time or two where I felt like he pulled up or he wasn't aware of what Lamar was doing. Which just takes some getting used to, because you're getting back on the blind side. You've been protecting Lamar's front side for 2 years now, and now you got to go, or 2.5 years. Now you got to go protect his blind side. It's a different ballgame. As John Harbaugh said in his press conference on Monday, to do what he did and have your feet moved in that different position. You're literally
reversing literally everything.
Yeah, you have to do everything on those sets. It's a different ball game at that point. So he did really well. There were some times where you could tell he didn't have an awareness, but Metzger getting beat up the middle, Phillips getting beat up the middle again. I mean, do you think it's just simply because Ronnie Stanley's out, or do you see
No, our offensive line hasn't been all that good all year. I mean, they're pretty good at run blocking. Their pass blocking, other than Ronnie Stanley, is subpar.
How do you fix it at this point, though?
how much money you got?
Yeah, right.
How many,
I think we got $3 million, $4 million, something like that.
How many trade picks are you willing to give up? Like, I don't think you're really going to fix it.
I think we would have gotten $8 million if somebody would have signed Thomas. But
I think you fix it by running the ball more and making the passes more of a surprise. I think you fix it by the fact that we do have the talent on the offensive line elsewhere to make up for some of these deficits. And the fact that just because you get beat on a pass play doesn't mean Lamar is going to the ground, because it's Lamar. And he can just do whatever he needs to do.
Do you send – I have what I think is the ultimate way to fix this. We send about 5 Costco-sized chocolate cakes to Marshall Yanda. And say, Yanda, please come back. Eat all this and come back.
Is Yanda's contract on our – is that how that works? Or is he retired so it's not?
Technically, no. Technically, we're getting the cap hit for it.
You're getting the cap hit for it. So him coming back doesn't cost us anything else on the cap. Hey, Marshall.
Right?
I mean, bro, like this is a Super Bowl level defense. This is a Super Bowl level quarterback. This is a division round level wide receiver and tight end core.
So I'm going to bring in 2 comments here. So Troy on Facebook says Bozeman has been great. Brown went up against Sweat. He's really good. Can't say he didn't go against a good player. No, he did go against a good player. Bozeman has flashes. He's looked good. If you watch John Harbaugh's press conference, he was asked about Bozeman, and Bozeman, he gave Bozeman praise, but Bozeman still has some work to do, and we're really seeing it. And Garnett, you hit the nail on the head. Skura does not look healthy. It's a great story that he comes back, but I think they rushed him back. I don't think he should have been back already. I think you're putting the pressure on the knee. You're seeing that, he even on the double teams, a lot of times Phillips and what's his face are having to come over and help him. So
chip blocks. Yeah,
it's something that it needs to be done. And Deshaun says we need Yanda like today. Yes, we do need Yanda like today. But I think the other thing that we got to look at on the positive side, right? So we talk about the negative. Let's go back to the positive for a second. 2 parts to the positive here. Number 1. Run game had some flashes. While the numbers didn't show it in this game, there were flashes that looked good. 144 yards on 32 carries overall. So if I just told you that. That's
not bad. I mean, that's we're spoiled. That's what now, but what you do is subtract Lamar's yardage and then it don't look so hot.
Right. Lamar had 7 of those 32 carries and had 53 yards.
Yeah, 50 of them is why I lost.
50 on 1 TD that was a 3rd and 4. For this, like, Gus Edwards, I was happy to see Gus Edwards get some carries in the first quarter in this game. He had 9 carries overall in the game for 38 yards, so averaging just over 4 yards a carry. Not bad. Ingram, 8 carries for 34 yards, about the same. JK, 5 carries for 16 yards. They used him in distance situations, so it's kind of hard. It's kind of easy to predict that he's going to bounce to the outside. He's not going to find the hole up the middle or try and push up the middle like Ingram or.
We're in a sticky spot because the heart of this team is Mark Ingram, and I think Mark Ingram's lost 3 steps. I think that Gus Edwards is our best running back as is. I don't think J.K. Dobbs is getting enough run. Like you know
where Ingram has looked good to me this year. He's where he's been good historically.
Short
yardage, and goal line.
Yeah, I mean, he's a truck. I mean, but so is Edwards a truck. So, but yeah,
But Edwards is that truck, to your point. Edwards is that truck that can truck through and get you an extra 5, 6, 7 yards. That one play, he trucked through 2 guys and wound up getting, I think it was a gain of like 11.
Yeah.
And so he's able to do that. Whereas Mark
Ingram is still a top back in the league. I'm not saying he needs to retire. I'm just saying he's not what he was last year.
Adjust his usage accordingly.
Yeah, I think that Edwards is more than we give him credit for. I think that Edwards is top 15, 20 back in this league. I'm going to get to Drew in this.
It's a thought that's been on my head. Is it more too crowded? Like, if one of them was traded, would it open up a lot more for, say, just 2 backs? So if you think of it, it's not even a 3-headed monster. It's a 4-headed one with Lamar.
Right.
Well, you can't trade Ingram. Like I said, he's the heart of the team. And Justice Hill is completely useless. So if you'd like to trade him and get a bag of balls, we could probably do that.
I don't know that you can say Justice Hill's is useless.
When's the last time we saw him?
In this game? Or no, sorry, scratch that. It was JK I'm thinking of in this game. No, so yeah, Justice Hill, we haven't seen him in a while. But Justice Hill hasn't gotten the chance. I mean, you
His
can't.
chance was last year, and I don't think they wouldn't have drafted JK if they believed him.
But did he really get the chance last year? And the reason you draft, I'm going to pause for a second on that. The reason you draft JK, he was the best man on the board at the time. Like, you're not going to pass up on that. But for yes, did it hurt Justice Hill? But Justice Hill didn't get the chances last year either. He got some, but he didn't get near the chances that we said he should.
What scares me is Drew's probably right, and the one with the draft value that you can lose without ruining the locker room is Gus Edwards, who I think is our best back. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's you could do that, but if
you can't trade Ingram.
All right, so let me ask this. If you could trade Gus Edwards and in return get one or maybe two guys to shore up that offensive line, is that worth it?
Yeah.
To me, it is.
If you can get a top-level offensive lineman or a top-level wide receiver, it's worth it.
I'm with Drew. I feel like we have too many good running backs, and I think we over game plan for what running back is going to do what, and I think we go in the wrong direction. Sometimes it should be like, let's go with Ingram and Gus sometimes, or like Dobbin. Like, we have too many ponies. It's like you have too many cars in your driveway. Which one am I going to drive? So I feel like that messes up the whole game plan. And I think we have value in our running backs to get something out of it.
And if the whole thing is health, which it kind of felt like because Ingram was beat up in the playoffs last year and lost out, why not just activate two of them? Just have Hill and Ingram for game time one week, and Edwards and Dobbins the next week, and let them play every other game. I think you do fine. They got a lot of talent out there.
I don't doubt that. I don't know what contract has to go in that situation as far as Ingram. Ingram was the one that you would have to worry about as far as any potential contract issues.
You're gonna pay him.
You should pay him either way. Pay him to sit on the bench.
They're getting
fine.
the money.
But the thing I think you got to look at here, to your point, if you could get away with two, you can, and I think that's where Gus Edwards trade value can go up and help him. But with him doing so well and being this monster, they want to have, and they tried to game plan. What James was saying, they tried to game plan and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. It came out last week and again this week that Gus Edwards was kind of they were referring to him as their closer. Right, in baseball, you got the closer. They were referring to him as their closing running back because he could come in fresh at the end of a game and an already beat up, line. It's just going to get demolished by this guy who's fresh. So I get the thought process behind it. I just don't know that through 4 games we've really seen that play out.
So, and then you got contradicting comments here. You got Nick Short, trade for a defensive pass rusher and get AB for pennies on the dollar. There's our daily AB comment. But then right after that, we spent way too much capital on the defense this offseason. On the defense, should have been the offense. So we got one that says we got too much defensive power and one that says we need defense. So that's why we have talk shows, because the Ravens get paid the big bucks to get the decisions made, because half the fans are going to be angry no matter what they do.
I want to know where they're going to find pass rushers.
I mean, this is too late. Yannick was the shot, and or Clowney, and they tried both of them, and neither one of them happened.
Clowney's not doing anything. So
maybe we dodged a bullet there, but Yannick would have been sweet.
Well, and then him with Campbell on that line would have.
Oh yeah,
the two of them already knowing each other and how each other plays.
Did pick up some big. I'm not going to hate on our pickups. Wolf's been all right. I haven't, like you said, Calais Campbell has been a monster with these He's leading the team in baddest balls.
Yeah, I think he's actually leading the league.
he's this 6'8" monster with his 5-foot arm, just swats whatever comes by.
He's like a forest.
Good, Joe.
Do you trust them to do what they did last year, where they got a little bit into the middle of the season where they had LJ Ford?
Yeah,
they brought in guys and it just worked. I mean, like a Clay Matthews. A name. You think they would do that? Do you want that?
I don't know if I would call it Clay Matthews yet or not.
This is the first name.
No, I get what you're saying though. But yeah, no, I said that last year. I think that so far, Eric DeCosta has proved to be the best GM when it comes to getting the bang for your buck. So much so that you did what you did with LJ Ford, that the season hadn't ended last year and you extended him, right? So these dumpster dives, as we call them. This is the time that you start looking. Where do we need it? What can we get? Who's on the bench? I tell you what, there's a lot of guys. I'm not saying they're top tier guys. There's a lot of guys that don't have a job from the XFL that probably are in pretty damn good condition right now. The biggest issue you're going to run into is Joseph Bowers, friend of the show, players agent. He said on Twitter today that these these new protocols that came out of this phone call on Monday, it's going to make it hard for teams to work out guys because you're not going to be able to bring these guys into your facilities to work them out. To avoid any potential exposure.
Deshaun Chandler says Eric Reed is still out there available. As I don't know, man. Drew seems against this, but that's some talent out there, and our cornerbacks are starting to fall apart. We thought we had it deep, but with Young going down and everything that's been going on, it could help to have another body.
Troy says something good too. He says, "I want a guy that can play the edge. Doesn't have to be a pass rusher. These screens are killing us." Part of that is some of these zones that we're playing on guys, instead of playing man, we're in these zone coverages, and that's when it winds up killing you.
Well, we're blitzing this year the same number we were last year, but we're not getting home. So you have less people playing defense at that point. So you're getting these screens tossed over your head while you're blitzing, which is what this screen is designed for, is to beat the blitz, and we just keep blitzing. So if you're not going to get there, you're not going to get there.
Well, and let's also look at this, right? So Fred pulled out this number off of Twitter. Let me see who it was on Twitter. Johnny Kinsley on Twitter. Total QB hits produced through week 4. Philadelphia leads with 45. Pittsburgh leads with 39. Baltimore is in third with 32.
Well, that stat's garbage because the Eagles have the best. So why would we want that stat? Just throw it away.
Yeah, right.
Who cares about that stat? Obviously, doesn't matter.
It's one of those things. It just comes down to
Pittsburgh's great, so maybe it makes a difference.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a fun game.
We've got to do a lot, especially with our run game. It's got to be something that we're putting together. The other thing I think was good in this game is Mark Andrews has a nice bounce back game after really struggling in the Kansas City game.
That's all mental. That's what we saw with the Chiefs game with both him and Brown, and a little bit with Lamar. I think Lamar only got there because Brown and Andrews were in their heads, and so he didn't know what to do because all his security blankets are like,
who do I throw to now?
Daydreaming and falling apart. But yeah, it was mental, and he got over it because I'm sure he wasn't scared of the Redskins. I'm sorry, there it goes. I'll put $1 in the swear jar. Washington football team. And so he was able to do his man stuff. We know he's Mandrews. We know he's great. Yeah. He needs to not do that next time.
2 TD catches, 1 for 25, 1 for 22, 3 receptions overall for 57 yards. So, while it wasn't a ton of catches, it still was big, right? They came at big moments, and he puts it on the board. Per NFL stats, by the way, Andrews has 14 receiving TDs since the start of last season. That's the most in the NFL. He can have a bad game.
That's shocking, actually. I would not have thought that the season last year would have kept him the most in the NFL. All right.
So, happy to see that. Happy that that they're doing that. And then another thing that with the Ravens, of their offense, they're ranked 25th in the NFL in yards per game at 341.
Anybody expect that before the season started?
They were second in the league last year at 407. So there's flashes. We've seen it, but there's still some work that needs to be done. But they are scoring 30.5 points per game. So there's a lot going in their favor in all of this, and it's something that we really need to pay attention to. What this team's going to do to help shore up. Ronnie Stanley needs to come back healthy. I also think you need to pay attention. Apparently, rumors were that they were working on Ronnie Stanley, couldn't get it worked out, and that's why they went to Marlin.
Yeah, they were trying to get him extended. Was the first person they went to was Ronnie Stanley, which if you got Lamar, you want to lock up his blind side. That's where you want to put the money first. Apparently, talk stalled with his agent, so they moved over to Marlin's agent, and they said, yes, please, we'll take that money.
Yeah. Huge play in this game, kind of moving on. The best
7 for 7, baby.
The best completion percentage.
They all look pretty.
He is the most accurate passer in the NFL. Sam Cook.
Everyone in the stadium knew that was coming.
Even the announcer goes, "You got to watch this. This is where they'll use Sam Cook to throw."
Yeah, and he goes, "There he goes," as he draws back.
Yeah. So, of players with at least 5 career passes, he holds the record with 100% completion rate, 7 for 7. Big time. The game was at 14-7 at that point. So Washington had just scored, and we were at 4th and 9, and that led to one of the Andrews touchdowns.
Yep.
So winds up really helping us out and putting it on the board. So Fred did want us to kind of talk about a question here, and I think this is a great discussion to be having after this game. Are we spoiled now as fans?
A lot of people are. Twitter is. All the new fans since Lamar showed up are.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Yeah, I mean, the I'm a Ravens fan because of Lamar is stupid spoiled. This would have been a blowout in any other era other than Lamar. Like this is a monster blowout by the Ravens by 11 points. Wait, we didn't need a field goal at the end to win?
Right.
Like that's what a Ravens fan was like, oh, don't worry, we'll get a kick at the last second and win. Now I'm mad as hell that RG3 cost me all kinds of money. I was there for like 5 minutes with everybody. Yeah, I don't get it.
Cost me points.
I mean, the question starts to become like, are victories not enough anymore?
I mean, they tied the spread. They did what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to win by 11. They won by 11.
Right. Well, the other thing is to your point with these 30-point games, this is a trend in the NFL right now. Right, we're seeing these high-scoring games across the NFL. This ain't just the Ravens, and people are getting upset because we're not up there with the Breezes and the Rodgers scoring 40 points a game.
We're with the Breeze.
We're with the Breeze right now.
Not Rodgers. I mean, Rodgers is in a whole nother world with some bums. I could catch passes from Rodgers.
But people are getting upset that these aren't like, we're not blowing teams out even more than we normally would, and it's like, hold your horses. We won a game. And you got out of it some information that helps you go back and get better. And to I think it was Cravens and Ravens said, preseason's over. This would normally be the end of preseason. Yep.
No other
4 weeks.
No other team are you just expecting to see your backup quarterback at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Even the teams that do blow people out don't do that. That's a Ravens only thing that we sit our quarterback in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's
I didn't understand that.
Let's go to Drew for his comments.
And the one time we didn't, everyone complained for no reason.
Oh yeah.
When we left Lamar in to actually stomp some throats. I will complain right now, though. I'm telling you, what is RG3 doing on this roster? I cannot fathom what the upside of having RG3 is. When you tell me RG3 is on this roster and we have somebody else down, I'm assuming that means RG3 can run the Lamar system better than your other quarterbacks. Well, that's been proven wrong. He's terrible at the Lamar system. He is bad. And there is no upside to keeping this old-ass quarterback that's on his way out of the league as your backup.
I would disagree with you because you need somebody that's – if you put those other two in there in a tight situation –
You never put him in a tight situation.
If Lamar goes down – knock on wood. Lamar goes down for some reason, whatever.
Find some real wood. That's cardboard, bro.
Yeah, I know, right? Knock on that desk over there. But when it comes down to it,
your season's over because RG3 is terrible.
But at that point, if Lamar goes down, you can bring one of these guys up to sit behind RG3.
I don't think they sit behind him. I think this is a 49ers style decision. I think that RG3 is our second string quarterback, and our third string quarterback's way fucking better. You brought them in. The 49ers brought their third string quarterback in and almost won because of it. There's no way that you have people.
He's not a high round draft pick. He's an undrafted guy, and he's a guy that sitting on the practice squad. I get that, but he's a guy that has no experience in the NFL.
McSorley can do what he's doing.
Dude, I hate Penn State. Penn State can sit on it. But Trace McSorley did way better things than RG3. And even if Trace McSorley is just as bad as RG3, there's still an upside because he's in his second year of the NFL. So he might get better. But RG3 is never getting better. This is what you got.
But the upside to having RG3 playing right now in the fourth quarter is look at how many soft tissues injuries we've seen going around the NFL already.
This is a charity case. We ruined his career with a fucking nose tackle hit, and now we're just giving him a career anyway. Just let it go. Pay the man. Let him sit on the sidelines. We don't need him.
I think
healthy scratch. Bring up one of the other boys.
If somebody out there wants him and needs him, how many?
He will clear waivers 100%. 100%.
No, he wouldn't.
100%.
Guarantee you, he would not.
Two
clear
Bears,
waivers.
one cave. Call out from my man Fred watching out there. I hope you feel better. 100%.
I don't think so.
Like,
clears waivers.
It's just like a wasted spot.
He's not good. Like I thought, I was not on the anti RG3. I've seen him 3 out of the 4 games now. He's not good.
I want him.
It's a 3 and out.
I want him to go out there and try to find a starting game.
He can't even hand the ball off right. I don't know. Like
here's the deal: you can either pay him and have him sit on the bench, or you can put him in, let him show somebody, what he's got. Maybe he works at it.
He don't have nothing.
Maybe, but that's the value that you're not seeing. He's not working in our offense. I agree with you 100%. but he's also not costing you the game at this point. He hasn't cost you anything other than the salary. And if you can
Nobody
get,
wants him.
if somebody comes knocking and says, hey,
You're not going to come knocking for an old man. What if your young boys showing off what he gets and they come looking for him? They're not looking for old ass RG3 with one knee. They're not looking for it.
Somebody right now at this length in the season, somebody's looking for experience.
He was great. I appreciate everything RG3 did as a motivator and a mentor to Lamar. That period is over. Get out. Let's have a young bucket back up so we can actually groom somebody.
And I'm looking with Ryan
I'm not
says.
disagreeing.
Hold on.
You are disagreeing with me.
And I'm pretty sure Fitzpatrick will get a starting job before RG3 will.
Oh, 100%. He's a million times better.
Fitzpatrick has had plenty of chances to actually do it, and how many times has he failed?
RG3, everybody knows that
Fitzpatrick's worst game is better than RG3's best at this point. His interceptions at least look good. They went 5 yards downfield.
You guys keep harping on the fact that I'm saying he should play. What I'm saying is, by having him out there, if somebody sees something, if we're in if we're in week 8, I agree with you. At that point, cut it off. Nobody's coming knocking week 8, week 9.
Why do you think they're going to knock for him more than Trace? Why do you think they're going to knock for him more than Huntley as the other quarterback?
I want them to knock for RG3. I don't want them to knock for the other two because the other two can, to your point, the other two can play our offense better.
Nobody's
Hold
coming
on, Ryan. I got the perfect example. We'll call New England, send RG3 up there, get rid of Hoyer so they have a running style quarterback like Cam while he's got the corona.
I will.
There we go.
Fine. Well, I'll give you a 3rd round pick and RG3 to take him.
I'll go ahead and give you the both punch now. Why don't we just go ahead and call up Tim Tebow?
Look, here's the thing. 47 backup quarterbacks played last year. It was unreal, and nobody called for RG3. What makes you think this year is gonna be the
because
year
RG3 most of the time played later in the season.
Dude, they were scraping barrels on 10 teams in the NFL, and they're 3rd and 4th string. Nobody wants him. He's wash. He's wash. It's a charity case. I'm sorry that Nada was mean to you. It's over. Find me a new backup quarterback, and I want my $80, RG3. What the hell?
All right, you owe him apparently. Last but not least, we got to talk about the rumors going around. Former Raven Eric Weddle contemplating playing again.
I'll take him.
Really?
Why not? What do we got to lose? What is he going to get, a minimum veteran contract? That sounds fine. That's what they want to give AB. Weddle's not going to ruin the locker room. Weddle, you can blitz Weddle and leave Humphrey where he's supposed to be. Whatever.
All right. Fair enough. I don't know. I'm not sold on it. We saw the balloon cover. If he is, don't let him. He's not the mic. He can't be the mic.
Oh, Queen's got you. What do you mean?
No, I'm sorry. The headset. The green dot. Green dot.
They've groomed Queen. Queen's their future. Right. He's playing great. Let him have it. Yeah. You're done. That's set unless I'm not even gonna say it. I don't got no real wood around here. Now Queen's the man. If wasn't in a Ray Lewis defense, he would be all the talk in the world. The problem is we compare Queen to Ray Lewis all day long because it's just natural. So we're not blown away. A lot of franchises will be blown away at what Queen's doing right now.
Yeah. One other note before we move on to the Bengals game. Did you guys see the news that was announced today around 3:30?
Nope. I was
in the local Baltimore area.
Nope.
Calvert Hall.
Nope.
Jacoby Jones is the new wide receiver coach.
Jacoby Jones at Calvert Hall?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Apparently,
what's the tie there?
He loves Baltimore. I don't know.
Okay. Good for him. That sounds like fun. Well, I would have thought he would have went home to New Orleans, but
no,
just likes it here.
And I'm going to also go, it wasn't because of Jimmy Seafood, because he's a Loyola guy.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what the tie is.
Well, I wish him well, and if you got any studs, I know a little school down the road that's looking for some people. And if they want to get on Show and Tell, give me a call.
So wait, you're saying Jacoby Jones should go back to school?
No, I'm just saying send me your studs.
Oh. Your studs. I thought you were saying he should go back to school and play wide receiver.
Oh, that's fine too. If you can fake a birth certificate, come on, boy, we got you in Maryland. Let's get it.
All right. So we got to move Cincinnati. Look. This is going to be for people are going to say I'm dumb for saying this. This is going to be a tough game as far as I'm concerned.
Burrow's legit. He don't want to lay down here. I mean, this whole division looks rough. I think top to bottom, we got one of the best divisions in football at this point. It looks like, right? Everybody's got 3 wins.
Yeah, I mean it's
even the team that didn't play this week.
Right. Yeah, somehow. No. Burrow's last week against the Jags, 25 for 36 for 300 yards. Got sacked once, but became the first rookie in NFL history to throw 300 to throw for 300 plus yards in 3 straight games.
Their Achilles heel is their offensive line. So if our defensive line doesn't show up this week, we're going to be in trouble. This is a put up or shut up moment for this pressure but not hit defensive line. You need to hit this week. You're playing against a JV offensive line, and that's the only thing they got the JV on that team. They're pretty good elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean they're wide receiver. He's got the weapons around him. He's got the tight ends around him. He has the running back in Joe Mixon. Him and Mixon hooked up this week. Mixon 25 carries for 151 yards in this game.
And I don't want to say it because he hasn't came back yet, but I feel the ghost of AJ Green that has haunted us forever. If he's gonna have a coming out party, this is the week he's gonna have a coming out party because he destroyed us always. So it's either over after this week, we can cut him off our fantasy teams, or he gonna put up some numbers versus the Ravens because he always has.
Yeah, and Garnett says if we don't get home to the quarterback and finish, secondary might get exposed. That's exactly what Ryan was saying. This is
too many weapons to cover.
And Nick, you're saying it's the Bungles. Please, if you're saying that, you haven't been watching what this team's done the past few weeks.
Offensive line's the only bungle in there, dude.
It's
Joe
still
Mixon
football.
looking for real. They got real wide receivers.
Yeah, it's still football. You have a quarterback putting up 300 plus yards. I don't care what team he's going against. I don't care if he's going against a high school team. It's still impressive.
His arm talent's amazing. The only reason he's not one of the top he is one of the top fantasy quarterbacks, but the top QBR quarterbacks because he's getting hit every play.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Joe Burrow is probably going to be the next. He's a bad man, as Steve Young Smith says. He looks good. He looks comfortable. Good. He can run and he can throw a damn ball.
Yeah.
Well, and their defense, not only we talk about their offense, but their defense has looked good. They had 3 sacks and 1 interception in the Jaguars game. It's the Jaguars offense. There's nothing, nothing great there, but
their
it's
defense
also
isn't bad.
At.
I'm not terrified. It's not like we're playing the Steelers or something, but it's a decent enough defense that it's going to give us trouble.
But
we don't have that many weapons to cover, so they can figure it out.
It's going to show our offensive line weaknesses if they are able to put the pressure on,
especially if we don't get healthy.
Right, and get to Lamar. That's the last thing we want. You need Stanley to come back. We need him to come back healthy, hopefully this week. And that's what we really need to do. But on our defensive side of the ball, when it comes to addressing Joe Burrows, one of the keys for me is the communication on the defense needs to improve. There are too many times where we've got one of the cornerbacks that's like doesn't seem to know where to be.
Completely misassignment.
Yeah. Is it just me, or is that happening way too much?
Oh, there's definitely some completely uncovered receivers. It's the only explanation, other than when our players just run into each other. But that was offense. Never mind. That was our receivers just colliding off each other.
Yeah.
I definitely think that I hope we get healthy. I think that with Friday being the decision on Stanley, it leans me to believe it's like a Devontae Adams situation where he probably could have went, but they're saying we should be able to beat the Redskins, or there's my $2, the Washington football team, without Stanley. But we might not be able. We'd have a division matchup next week that's really important. We need you healthy. We can't lose you for multiple weeks trying to play this week. So hopefully, since it was so close to game time, that decision, he'll be up there. Hopefully our offensive line looks better. Again, run the ball, because that's what that offensive line's good at. And if you ran the ball so many times that they think you're going to run the ball, then at least the defense won't be pinned to ears back trying to throw the ball.
Now you can do some designed rollouts with Lamar and some throws where he is usually good on the run.
Play action. Not why are we in empty backfield shotgun? What?
There should be somebody in the backfield every play, period.
And you know what else that gets me that we're doing a lot right now? And I don't understand. Maybe I'm a fat guy and I think running's hard. But we'll split out Dobbins or Ingram or somebody as a wide receiver. He'll come in motion 50 yards across the field, come stand next to Lamar, and then you hand him the ball. He just ran 25 yards for no reason. Why you hand it to a tire guy? Everybody else stood still. They're all ready, and you're giving it to the tire guy. Yeah. I just don't get it. I don't understand that play at all. If you're going to motion into the backfield, have him blocking or have him running a fake pass route that's going somewhere. You got to make the movement pre-snap. I mean, I know they're not tired. They're professional athletes. All he did was jog 25 yards, but it just feels weird. It feels like, especially when it's in the middle of a drive and not like a first play.
Well, and to your point, and I saw this on Twitter. I saw some people, commenting. They're getting cute. They're trying to get cute, right, with some of the moves. And it sucks because they're looking and saying, oh, well, it works in Kansas City, so we're going to try it here. No, stop trying to get cute. If you're gonna
block that Birdland BS guy. Who the hell's out here tweeting? You guys are killing me with some of these takes. If you want to have takes, you should be sitting here in this chair. I got the big boy chair. Mute that shit.
It's James. It's James.
That's not James.
It's
Fred.
James.
It's got to be.
No, it's James. Oh, that was Fred?
It's got to be Fred.
Oh, it's
There's
Fred.
no way.
Oh, I didn't see the I hate not being there piece. No, but so how do you freaking lost my
Can we mute our own feed? Is that possible?
Might have to figure that out.
Don't worry. This will be the same as last time Fred missed a show. He'll come back and he won't want to talk about any of the new stuff. We'll review all the stuff from the week before because of all the stuff he wanted to talk about. But we're filling in just fine here, bro. Me, Earl, Scott, we all got this going on.
Yeah. Besides, did you go to the car wash?
This is also Earl. For the Bally Hooligans out there. There's a local band. Hit them up. Reggae Rock, my boys. Howie Spangler. Not a sponsor. Should be.
No. Anyway, what I was going to say was, before we get to the predictions, when it comes to the motion, you talked about the motion, them putting guys in motion all the time and trying to get cute with that stuff. The reason it works for Kansas City and for Green Bay is another big one with the pre-snap motion. It works because they make that motion mean something. It's not a guy running across the field just to run.
I mean, I think that when you put somebody in motion, you're basically just trying to tell whether they're in man defense or not. That's kind of the point of most of it. So, but is Lamar picking apart that defense at that point, or are you changing the call at that point? I don't see a lot of it.
But you got it. When you do that, you have to make it mean something, and you have to then hit that guy when he's open every time that he's open. That's why it's been working with Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, because he finds that open man and he hits him. When you have a guy that's just standing out there 5 yards out and there's nothing but 10 yards between him and the guy in front of him, throw him the damn ball.
And I know this will be a homer take, but as somebody that watched the Chiefs game the week before us and the week after us, God, if we could have played them either one of those weeks, holy God, every bounce went their way against the Ravens, and they looked bad last night. Patrick Mahomes should have 2 extra interceptions than what he had. They turned the ball over with every way you could turn the ball over. The only thing that got him lucky was like the world's worst call by a referee that let him keep the ball one of the times. They gave us our A game and we gave them the worst scared game, and hopefully we don't see that anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's time to get into predictions, but before we do, we got to send you to my bookie, guys.
All right, my Fred impersonation number 2. It's winning season at MyBookie. Winning season means doubling your first deposit. That's right, MyBookie is hooking up all the BSers with double their first deposit, up to $1,000. With 10 times rollover, you can win your money, pull that stuff out. MyBookie has it all. They've got Survivor, Super Contests, Squares, along with full season games and prop bets. I just read Scott's.
You just read my section. That's all right.
Hey, go for it. We'll switch it up.
I don't know. Hey, Fred, he might be taking your job. Let's just say that.
No, I'm not. I just failed.
Make sure you guys get excited for the season. Invest in your sports knowledge. Just don't listen to anything that this guy has to say because he's pretty much out of money. He's been losing so much.
Yeah, thanks to RG3, we already discussed that. I was on baller status. They were winning by 25 points. I got that going.
But invest in your sports knowledge because it's got to be better than Ryan's. Use the promo code BirdlandBS. They'll double your first deposit. This just adds another level of excitement to all the sports you guys love and the games you bet. They had the Preakness that was on this week. If you had the Swiss Skydiver, that was an 8-1 odds. So on a $10 bet, you're walking away with $80. Can't beat it. And you got to make sure that you do this. And when you do it, it's simple. Make your picks. You win big. And as Ryan said, you collect your money. You want me to read the rest?
I got you. Again, use promo code BirdlandBS. Double your first deposit and start winning season today. Only at MyBookie.
All right, it's time for those prime time predictions. So let's give everybody an update. Let's start with the pick the clicks. The clicks. Fred's got 3. He got it last week. I think it was the Ravens game. He had the closest with having the right pick. I think he was off by 8 points.
I think it's the big chair powers. I'm going to get the pick to click this week, I think.
Yeah, are you calling it now?
It's a big chair powers.
You want to put some money on it?
Be. No. I mean, sure. Why not? Whatever. What do you want? 15, 20, 30, 50?
How much? I was going to say how much is in your MyBookie account. But there's
Like
nothing there.
$26. Thank God I got the TCU over Texas because Texas sucks. Let's go, Maryland.
So far on this season, Fred's 10-6. I'm 9-7. Brian is 9-7. James had 2 losses last week. He moves to 9-7. You had 2 losses last week.
2 losses. I had 1.
You had 2 losses, my friend.
No, I had 1. You got to do the math.
Math or counting?
I picked the Packers. I picked the Packers, but I took the Jets, and the Jets should have won that game, but Denver gave.
Should have.
Yeah, they should have.
Or are we counting you as a shoulda win or we did win? We can't pick who was
It was
supposed to
better
win.
than your pick.
Atlanta was shoulda won.
No, hell no.
They tried a whole new thing, man. On Monday Night Football, they've been getting big leads and they give them away. So they tried to go into half 3-7. It just didn't work.
You had 2 losses, my friend. You lost to the Jets, and you also had the 49ers, just like the rest of us. Wow. That was where all the losses
the 49ers.
Yeah.
See, 49ers will get you every time.
Yeah, they'll get you every time on that. So James is 9-7. Ryan, you lost your lead. You had the lead. You're now 10-6.
Tied for the lead. It's all right.
You're tied. Before we jump into the actual predictions for this week, I want to get your guys' take on COVID and what we've heard come out of this week. Obviously, we had the Patriots-Chiefs game. Got moved to Monday night. Last minute on Wednesday. Killed my fantasy situation because I had to sit Tyreek Hill.
Didn't have to. You just chose to.
I chose to because I didn't know when the hell they were going to play. I was trying to take guaranteed points, and Calvin Ridley gave me 0.
Guaranteed 0.
Yeah, exactly. But this week, obviously, we had the Titans situation. That game gets completely canceled or postponed versus the Steelers. Yeah, the Chiefs game. They had a call yesterday with all coaches, head coaches, GMs, and owners, and they are apparently tightening up these protocols.
I don't know what there is to tighten up because it sounds like Tennessee just needs to actually follow them, which makes sense. It's Tennessee. But they are the one that had the outbreak in-house. The rest of the teams had individual players that were positive. Cam Newton was the only one in New England, right?
That's come out, yeah.
Yeah,
So far.
and then you had a false positive in New Orleans, so that was
right.
That was fine. That wasn't anything. And then you only had one backup quarterback in Kansas City. So people are going to get COVID. What you want is exactly what happened in Kansas City and New England, that only that person has
right,
COVID.
They get quarantined out.
The problem is whatever the hell Tennessee did. And the other good thing is still no positive tests at Minnesota. So there was no COVID given during a football game to the team you were playing.
So the only thing I'll kind of bubble in here. So my mom, I found out just recently, had to go get a COVID test because there was thought that she was exposed. She wasn't even close to being exposed. She was like a day off. But long story short, they're now saying 5 to 7 days is the ideal window for testing.
Yeah.
After exposure. We're not there yet. We won't know until
or
Thursday,
7
Friday.
days after game time for the Minneapolis-Tennessee game. That's 7 days.
Right, but and you saw all the Tennessees turned up.
Tennessee, but no
Minnesota.
Minnesota. That's what I'm saying. Nothing was contracted on the field. So yes, you're right. Things could show up at New England and Kansas City. That's a valid point there. But the number one thing that could kill a season and all the rest of the seasons, including all college football, is if Tennessee had taken all their dumb COVID from doing whatever dumb party thing they did, because obviously they weren't following directions, and gave it to Minnesota on the field. If you start showing that field transmissions happening, that's going to really hurt the Big Ten, the ACC, the SEC, NFL. It's all going down if we're starting.
You're just looking at college. That's all you're doing.
Well, the NFL is what is who brought it back.
Precursor.
You know, maybe SEC would have been ballsy enough to come back without it, but nobody else was coming back unless the NFL did it. They had proof concept.
Yeah.
So if the NFL, just like the NBA, the only reason NCAA shut down is because of Gobert deciding to want to touch all the microphones and say he didn't have COVID when he does have COVID. So the NBA had it. They shut down. They said, well, if the pros have to shut down, we have to shut down. So that's we're following their lead.
Yeah, but the difference is with the NBA and the NHL were able to do it successfully because of the bubble. Now you're
come back, yeah.
Now you're showing that not having a bubble can wind up. We saw it in baseball.
Yeah.
You saw it. We saw it in baseball. What, 2 weeks in? I think it was 3 days into the season.
Yeah.
And then now you're seeing it here in the NFL. 4 weeks in, you're seeing the exposure. Yes, there was no transfer in baseball. so far, knock on wood, there's
Yeah.
been no transfer to transfer in football. But they're saying that the tightening up piece is heavier fines for taking your mask off. If you're on the sideline, this is just from what I'm hearing. I haven't been able to confirm anything. If you're on the sideline, player or not, unless you are have been actively playing, like in recent
If you're
snaps,
a reserve role, you should have a mask on.
exactly.
Yep. It's
What
that
it should have
just
been
makes
from the
sense.
get-go.
That's like an NBA warm up. You're wearing the warm up until you go on the court. Why can't you wear a mask until you go on the field? I don't see the problem there.
Well, I think the other thing is it needs to be. I don't know how much regulation you're going to be, but I almost think it needs to be okay. You go out and you play a snap, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you don't play another down in the game. You should be wearing a mask until they decide you want to go back on the field, unless you're getting oxygen, something like that. I get you come off the field, you get maybe a drive to determine, and if somebody's not on, then you need to put a mask on. They come back in, they can take it off, fine, whatever. But you're going to have some type of regulation to it.
I'm sure they have more information than we'll ever get. I'm sure they use these little tracker things to see if they were near each other. But this, because of the way it is, because you have multiple NFL teams with singular cases and one NFL team with a cluster, as they call it, seems like Tennessee was not following regulations, and that's why it spread. So you can tighten the regulations, but if you're tightening them, they need to be followed. Because if Tennessee just doesn't follow the tightened regulations, it'll be the same situation. I think what we saw was there were no positive tests through any of the preseason and any of the beginning of the season. And I think you saw NFL players, well, not preseason,
workouts,
off-season workouts, whatever. That what you saw was that players got lax. They started feeling like it wasn't an issue.
Coaches got
that
lax.
It wasn't. Yeah, I mean, you see definitely the mask usage is lackluster across the board.
And we saw it, honestly, I saw it in Hard Knocks. Sean McVay had his mask down half the fucking episodes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the same thing. I mean, we're all hypocrites. We could all be wearing masks in this room right now on TV, whatever. Like I've made my complaints before where people wear a mask and then they take it down to talk into a phone. Well, you can hear me when I'm talking to you, so why don't you think the person on the phone can hear you?
Fair enough.
So the same thing with these NFL coaches saying they want to be heard on the sidelines. Like it's like a 1 decimal, dampening with this little piece of cloth, especially with the ridiculous number of style masks they're allowed to wear. There's 100 things that have like no quality anyway. It's all a dog and pony show.
Right. All right. Let's actually go ahead and get into the predictions here. So let's start with the Ravens taking on the Bengals. We talked about what they need to do. We talked about the keys to the game. Let's jump straight into it. This is an easy, clean sweep. We all have the Ravens. It's just a matter of score. So Fred has this 33-20. I have it 28-24. Brian has it 38-20. Ryan, what do you have it?
I don't know.
You don't even remember.
The Ravens score here, 28-20 was my prediction with the Ravens winning.
So you still think it's going to be a potential 1-score game?
Yeah, I don't. Like you said, I think that they have a lot of offensive weapons. I think that Joe Burrow is good. This score could be a lot better for us.
I hope it's better than what I predicted.
The Bengals could score a lot less points if our defensive line can actually show up and abuse this lackluster offensive line. But I got to see it before I predict it.
Yeah, fair enough. James?
I have the Ravens 34-27.
Okay. Drew, who do you got?
Ravens 33-10.
Ravens 33-10. Off the cuff like that. He didn't even have to look at a piece of paper like the two of you.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. He can come off the cuff because he doesn't have it written
Right,
down. What if I lie to you right now on camera? Then what do I pick for this pick to click?
Well,
I got the big chair powers. I'm getting the pick to click this week.
Then it's changing.
Oh.
All right. Thursday night football. 8:20. We got the Bucks taking on the Bears. Clean sweep again. Who do you got?
Tom Brady.
Of course.
Tom Brady, 31-24. I can't tell where my head is with. I hated the Patriots and Tom Brady. And I don't know if I still hate the Patriots or if I still hate Tom Brady. I definitely don't hate them both. I can't decide. This is a confusing season. I'll let you guys know later.
I'll tell you what, if he wins another Super Bowl somehow this year, the answer is Tom Brady.
Yeah, 31-24. Bucks are going to win. I really thought they were going to lose last week. It looked like they were going to lose last week, and then 5 touchdowns in a row to just put it away.
Yeah.
I don't.
James, who do you got?
I have the Bucks as well, 27-24. Everybody's close in scores. Like Fred's got 27-20. Brian's got 24-20.
I think I've got the biggest difference here, right? I've got the big. No, I think it's between me and Ryan. And actually, Fred, it's me. Yeah, between me and Ryan. He's got 31-24. I have 21-30. So I think this is going to be a little bit bigger scoring game, but I do think that the Bucks are going to pull it out the way they played last week. I think you can't deny it that they're going to do well. What do you think, Drew?
I'm not saying this because everybody else picked the Bucks,
Big Dick Nick.
but Bears are winning this one.
Really?
It's gonna
Allen
be close.
Robinson's going to drop 50. I like it.
It's gonna be 23-20.
Even with the way the Bears defense has been playing recently?
Look, I didn't say I didn't even know what I'm doing here. I just think it's 23-20
Okay.
Everybody else is picking the Bucks.
All right.
Why not?
I tried
Fair
that
enough.
with the Falcons
Thursday,
last week. It didn't work.
So, it's Thursday night. Thursday night games I like to give the home team more of the up, unless they're the Jets. Then
That's not true. Miami just destroyed Jacksonville. At home.
Well, they only had to go like 20 feet to the left.
Yeah, it wasn't that hard. It wasn't that far of a
big
travel.
trip.
All right, so let's move to Sunday night. Vikings at the Seahawks. For this one, Fred and I are on the same page. We've got the Seahawks winning this one. He's got a little bit larger score than I do, but the margin is close. 40-34 is what he's got. I've got a little bit higher at 35-24. James, what do you got?
I have the Vikings winning 34-31.
Oof.
Dalvin Cook looked good this past week.
All right.
And Seattle's defense is trash, dude.
Yeah, but
All right,
it's
both
Russell
those things
Wilson.
are true, but Russell Wilson is there. So I have 38-28 Seahawks. I hope I'm wrong because I want Minnesota the heck out of the Trevor Lawrence chase. So I want Minnesota to win.
Brian must have been looking at what Fred did, even though he really didn't. He had Seahawks 41-34. Fred has it 40-34. So we'll see who comes out on that. It's literally a 1 point
Brian
difference
with
for them.
the Price is Right $1 bid.
Right, $1 more.
I'll wait for everybody.
Wait for the last picks $1.
Drew, who do you got in this game?
that Seattle defense is terrible. Vikings probably just as worse.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
So I'm
And the better quarterback is?
Russell Wilson. Let him cook. Let him cook. 42-21 Seattle.
42-21. Okay, you got a high scoring game as well for Seattle. All right, last but not least, Monday night. I don't know how many primetime games they've got this year. Chargers at Saints. I feel like every week we've said Saints in the primetime so far.
Well, but also the Chargers have made all their appearances matter. Chargers gave the Chiefs overtime. It looked like they were going to take down Tampa Bay. So I don't know. I unfortunately have the Saints here after saying all that because they keep missing out on actually finishing the job. 34-31. I just hope that Michael Thomas comes back and makes a difference. If Michael Thomas come back and they still look flat, well, I can just cancel that fantasy draft.
See, I gotta go in the other way here. I think they're going to continue. There hasn't been a whole lot to be happy about for the Saints in New Orleans. They have not looked good. We've seen Drew Brees and Sean Payton get pissed off week after week after week. I think it happens again this week. I do think it's a close game. I think it's a one-score game. It comes down to Will Lutz missing the game-tying field goal.
It's a hot take call there.
It's a hot take. Chargers 33-30.
That's like a calling for a tie.
No, that's not like calling for a tie.
Last chance Will Lutz field goal.
James, who do you got?
I have the Saints bouncing back 41-27.
Shoo!
Thomas back in there. Give me those points. They're going to reconnect and finish the job.
All right. Fred's got it. Saints 30-20. Brian's on my side with the Chargers. He's got it 27-17. Drew, what do you got?
This is the Alvin Kamara show all over again. Just feed him the ball. All these little dump balls, all these little scampers to the outside. Just feed him. Michael Thomas probably won't be back. I don't see that happening. I think because they have the bye week the following week.
Let him come back.
All right, cancel my prediction.
Couple more weeks. But Chargers, I mean, there's no Eckler. I don't see Jackson and Kelly being able to do anything near what even Eckler could do yet. So I'm the same exact scores. I think it's going to be 41-27.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see who comes out on top. And We might have to, after this week, start keeping track of Drew's predictions, see
But
how
hey,
accurate he is.
The bartender Cam agreed on that one, so that's a lot of power over there.
A little tidbit. I think Justin Herbert is legit, though.
Oh, Justin
I do
Herbert.
think he is.
I think if you're talking about Burrow, what Burrows look like,
and just imagine when he
still
goes
show-
through puberty. I mean, he's
That
going to be
too.
so good.
I mean, once he grows
Looks
that
like
beard,
a 12-year-old boy. He's got acne, and he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
And what,
So when his balls drop, look out.
and what it was they said that he looked good in the beginning of college last year, and then he like slowly fade off. But I thought he looked good all year round.
All right.
You or me?
I can do it.
I got you, bro.
All right. You got
I
it.
got you, bro. We got an Oktoberfest. I want you guys to listen to this real quick. I always do this in the bartender seat. Maybe this loud mic will be better.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah, see, this mic's so much better. I'm going to come up here in Fred's face and open these beers now. All right. Liquor Stop Brew of the Week. This week's brew comes from DC Brow Brewing. This is the Oktoberfest 5.5 ABV. Not going to put you on your butt, but you still feel it. We feel it fitting into Oktoberfest and continue the German tradition, celebrating marriage of Bavarian Crown Prince Ludwig and Prince Therese, or just drinking beer and eating pretzels, whichever one you want to do. In the 1810 marriage is what apparently it's about. But let's be honest, any excuse to get together with friends and family, raise a stein, malt forward amber lager. Welcome to the changing of seasons. I haven't tasted this yet. Let's do it live.
All right. What's the first taste?
It's actually better than I was expecting. Not usually a big Oktoberfest fan. No bitter afterkick here. It's a little sweeter than I was expecting for an Oktoberfest. This would be a good eating and drinking beer. You know, some beers are just a little too much power. They ruin your food. This is perfect for that pretzel.
This is a perfect beer and brat.
Yeah, I could eat a
This is a
sausage and
perfect
a
beer and brat
pretzel.
one.
Or just like, some celery, whatever you need that day.
So we're gonna talk about two other brews real quick. Number one
This
is
one?
what we talked about.
We said we were buying them out.
James, zoom in on this.
The
I
Hershey
didn't buy them out
Porter.
because I had to make sure that we got. Go ahead to me on this one.
Okay.
I got it.
Oh, you got it.
This is that Yingling Hershey's Porter.
Not digging.
This is a good beer. Now, if you like the Hershey syrup, is more of what this taste is. This is not a Hershey bar. It's not milk chocolate. It's like that old school mix yourself a milk chocolate or a chocolate milk taste. By itself, it's pretty good.
I say you took it to the next level before the show. And
Put a
this is damn
shot
good.
of peanut butter whiskey or screwball in the neck of this, and this is a Reese cup waiting to happen. Little Moose Tracks type beer. I love it. Can't recommend it more. They do have it at the liquor stop, so go ahead and make that your brew of the week.
Make sure you guys go up there. And I gotta show last week's. So
Birdland BS sent you.
Hold on.
yeah, Drew, have you tasted it yet?
Not yet.
I didn't know.
All right, you gotta take it home and taste it.
Yeah.
So the Purple Fields from last week. This is that one that we were kind of making fun of because it's got jasmine and lavender and pea flower in it.
But still tasted delicious.
And it still does taste delicious. But I just got to show you guys how it pours.
Yeah, we didn't know this till later.
Totally didn't know that this sucker pours purple.
So it's pretty cool for tailgates. Go with the Purple Fields for your Ravens tailgate next time.
And the flavor on this thing, we talked about it. The
Oh,
flavor
it's
on
good.
this thing is amazing. That was a horrible pour on my end, by the way.
yeah, that was really bad.
That was really,
You gotta
really
tilt
bad.
that cup, bro.
Yeah.
You didn't go to the Guinness pouring shop down there?
There's a reason I'm not the bartender over
You gotta
there.
get that degree down
Yeah,
there at
right.
Guinness. Just found out
What'd you say?
Ryan's liquor store receipt for 40. What?
For
You gotta move that.
$60 just in Hershey's beer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's fine.
really? Really,
Don't-
Kaylee?
She's
You want to know what my
always looking at my credit cards and find out. Don't worry about it.
You
I
want to
got
know what
this.
my bill for that was?
Oh,
I bought a few.
You
I bought
3 cases.
I bought 2 extra things, but I bought 3 cases. For the 3 cases, discounted $97.
Yep, with that Birdland BS discount. Tell
But-
them Birdland BS.
Exactly, gets you 10% off. And again, that deal, that's pretty damn good deal. I think we worked the math out to like less than $2 a beer, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Or I think it's like $8. I think it's like $8 a 6-pack.
I paid about $9 a 6-pack, so not bad.
You didn't go to Birdland BS, and
And
you didn't mention Birdland BS sent you.
Well, somebody told me they were gonna buy the store out and that we were gonna, get all this going. I was like,
I
all
was
right, I'll
trying-
buy a case. And he said, wait, we only have 3 cases. So then I just went and bought my own
No,
case because I was a little thirsty.
They had 6. They had 6 cases. I bought 3.
He didn't want to make the sponsor mad. It's fine. I accept
I
it.
wanted to leave some for the fans for the week.
Yeah. Buy your beers.
Go out.
Birdland BS.
Go check it out. Go to Liquor Stop, 1510 Conowingo Road. Tell them Burberry ABS sent you. Get your 10% off. All right, now for the segment that Ryan probably will fall
Drew,
asleep
you want
to.
this seat or something for this one? Like,
Drew might need that seat. He's going to chime in. I see it
this is
coming.
what's going to happen, Drew. I'll just stay quiet. You chime in whenever you feel like it.
Sounds good to me.
So we got to talk bros, bows, and O's. We talked last week how they finished out 25 and 35 overall, 15 games behind the AL. In the AL East, 6.5 games behind in the second spot of the wild card. But this week, some big news coming out of the Orioles camp. Mike Elias has a conversation with two of the coaches, and then subsequently releases both of them. That was pitching coach Doug Brookale and third base coach Jose Flores.
All about the money.
Both of you guys, and Drew and James, you guys are baseball guys. I'm going to let you give your takes first. What was your take on them releasing these two coaches?
I was just shocked when it popped up. I was like, did something happen? DWI or something? Like, I don't know. Like,
First
I thought
thought.
Raquel was doing a hell of a job. I thought he was doing a job, and especially being turning the leaf on a new ball club. That it was going to be the new direction, but things change, I guess.
I guess so. What do you think?
I'm blown away. I didn't see it coming. I thought they made a lot of strides. I mean, yeah, it's a shortened season, but I think they made a lot of strides. I mean, John Means came back around. You've seen a lot of guys like Dean Kramer, a lot of those guys debut, not look completely lost. I mean, it's got to be something to do with Brookale doing a good job, you would think.
Yeah, it's just weird that you got all these young pitchers down below, and you get rid of.
Yeah,
the
so
pitching coach.
here's the interesting thing. My first gut reaction was the exact same as both of you. I started thinking about it a little bit more, a little bit deeper, because my first gut reaction was these two guys were handpicked. These guys were handpicked by this staff, by Elias and by Hyde to take this job. And then I started kind of thinking about it more. What's been doing so well? The pitching that's been coming up. What's that a result of? Pitching development. Brookale is just getting these guys and letting them do their thing and helping them out a little bit. But the word around the street is, and I forget the guy's name, so excuse me for not knowing it offhand. The head of pitching development for the organization, basically like works right below Sig Mejdal, is apparently the front runner for the job. To me, it makes sense if you're going to be bringing these guys up, bring them up and let them develop with somebody they know. They're looking at the stats. They're looking at the numbers. We're numbers pitching now, right? That's what we're doing. That's what this is all about. Why not do it with somebody that they're comfortable with? I think it does make sense now that I've had the time to digest it. Chris Hoyt. Thank you, Adit. Chris Hoyt is the guy that we're referencing. But that's just the way that my take on it. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you agree with that? Do you disagree?
Yes and no if they go that direction, but if they just get and you said they were handpicked, but it was kind of hard to get the pitching staff to come here anyways. A lot of coaches turned down coming here. It was hard to get them here, but if that's what you're thinking, I hope so. If not, then something must have happened.
Yeah, I agree with you. If that's not what happened, something else happened. If it doesn't come from within the organization, that's my thought. Good.
Yeah, I don't even know what that something is unless there's some kind of argument or disagreement on what they think the future really is. Maybe Brookale doesn't think
we should bring him up.
But why does that come from? I guess my question is isn't Brandon Hyde the head coach? Why is that decision and that conversation not coming from Brandon Hyde? Why is that coming from Mike Elias?
I don't think Hyde is. I think Hyde's just there to fill in. I don't think he's going to be the manager next year, anyways.
Could be.
He'll be the manager next year, but I think maybe with a situation like this starting, maybe that's the signs that he isn't a guy that he's going to be on the other side. A lot of it's compared to the Astros, right?
Right.
Okay,
yeah, I mean, that's what your baseline is.
I'm drawing a blank on the manager that was there before they turned the corner, but he wasn't the manager once they turned that corner.
Right.
It was turned over to someone else. So
yeah, that's where it was turned over to AJ Hinch.
So, I mean, the only thing I can think of is, like, it makes me believe that maybe Hyde isn't in on those decision making. I don't know, but even then, with being the Angeloses, I don't know if that's Elias decision.
There you go. That's it. It is an Angelos decision. It is a business decision.
Wait. Did you hear a name that you know?
Yes, because this is why I'm sitting out as an Orioles fan, because Angelos runs a business. He doesn't give two shits whether it's baseball or selling Cracker Jacks. He is a businessman making business decisions. And this was a business decision. They got rid of two of their highest paid coaches in a year where they lost a ton of money revenue. And that's the end of the story. Angelos does not care if they win, because if they lose every game, he still makes money. It's not about it. He is not Jerry Jones that needs a Super Bowl before I die, and I'm going to throw everything I can do, and I'm going to get him off. He is clearing a check every month, and that's all it is. That's all it is.
I think Elias made this decision too.
I'd like to think so.
Maybe Elias was told, you need to cut $1.2 million in salary. You decide if it's 30 people making $50,000 or 2 people making $500,000. But I think that this is an Angelos started decision. He may have decided where to cut the fat.
I don't know that because Angelos hasn't been involved in that much of the decisions. It's really
you think the cheap dad's any different than the cheap sons?
The Suns are not cheap in any way, shape, or form, because they're the ones that it's come out that are wanting to keep Davis and are not willing to cut the contract and cut ties, because they're going to have to pay him anyway. So if we can get production out of him, or we could try and have him be here, they want him to be there. That's part of it. Second off, this is the guys that are also money hungry, that are going over their dads. They're not even waiting until their dad's in the grave before they do it. This is a man that said there would never be concerts at Oriole Park, Camden Yards. And we have now seen concerts. It started with the Billy Joel concert, and they're planning, once we can maybe get back to concerts, they're planning to do more. Yeah. So it's the Sun. To me, I would have to disagree with you. The Suns are way too far stepped in at this point for me to think it's Peter himself making this call. I think it's one of two things. I think you guys are onto something, that there's either an underlying issue or a disagreement that happened, or a disagreement. Maybe it's a disagreement in philosophy, or it is this player development that they're saying, well, this guy's, he knows all these kids. He knows how to handle them. He knows how to talk to them. He knows how to work the best out of them without them injuring themselves. So succession, let's go ahead and just make him it now. We've already got half the guys up here.
Like I said, this is Elias' project, and I think Hyde is just a puppet for Elias.
Oh, yeah.
And he can't stay, because if it was up to Hyde, Chris Davis would not be on the team. No. I guarantee it. But I think the management up top said, we're paying this guy. Let's see what we get, which no one really wants him around. He doesn't want to be around. It is what it is. And something must have had gone down saying, look, this is what we're thinking. They're like, we're not feeling it. We'll just go our own ways then.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this. I mean, third base coach Mike Flores was the other one. I mean, he's an infield coach to an extent as well. He took over for what Bobby Dickerson was doing. Yeah. But
Roquel's the one that makes me think.
Right, exactly.
I mean, just with development alone. I mean, Flores, you can't downplay any coach that's on any staff at all, because there is a role for everybody. But Flores is the one that makes you at least raise your eyebrow. Now, I mean, if it is the guy that's been in there with development, and that's what you find out, then we're talking about nothing.
$355,000 a year for a third base coach. I bet the next one's making $100,000.
You are still on this, Peter.
It's money.
Cutting money.
Hey, at least 175.
Let me know if the next one's making half. I'm right. We'll wait. I'll see if I'm right.
All right, we'll see what happens.
So they have a spot for you, right?
I mean, sweet. I can go like this, no problem. I got you, bro.
I knew you were going to do exactly that.
Get it going. $355,000. Every time I do my arm like this, I get paid $40,000
with my Yingling beer.
Can I hold a beer at third base, please?
That'd be sweet.
Oh man! All right. So the other thing I wanted to touch on, again, not a long bros and a segment here, but
already too long.
So, yeah, right. So something that was kind of interesting coming out of the alternate site. Nice to hear that Adley Rutschman, they've let him kind of micro tinker was the verbiage that they were using with his swing. They're not making these massive changes, and the micro tinkers they're saying are initiated by him. So they're the ones that are letting him go ahead and do it. All right, go ahead. I see it. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, we got a social media shout out coming in, but I got a little early because maybe they're going to bed. Shout out to my twins, Emma and Lily over there. Apparently they're watching. Mama's asked me to give a shout out. hey, girls, go to bed. Be nice. I'll give you hugs, kisses, noses tomorrow, all right?
I think that was also short-term language for watch our language for the next.
5
minutes.
She complains every once in a while about it, but I think we've been pretty good. It's
We've
been
been
pretty
pretty-
tight today.
We've been pretty good. But they're not making him make any major adjustments. They're not having him make major adjustments. Is that a good sign for you that we're not tinkering with some of these guys? Not just our pitchers, but our hitters. We're not tinkering, but we're not making large adjustments. We're letting use what got them to this level and just making slight tinkers to it.
No, Chris Davis tinkers.
We really got to stop rating on Chris Davis.
And we got to stop saying tinkers.
No, I mean, I think you've seen in the past, been in the past where times you see a guy go off, he plays for the Cubs, Arrieta. Oh, there's a cutter now. All of a sudden, I'm freaking Cy Young worthy. I think philosophies have changed down there where Elias, look, anybody who's there, Elias wants. Elias sees something in, letting them he knows whatever they got.
These were literally handpicked down at the alternate site.
Yeah, that too. I mean, that's why I think with when they picked Heston Kjerstad, everyone's like, "What the heck are you doing?" Well, I mean, he's got to see something, and we won't. I mean, time will tell. I mean, that's what all baseball prospects are.
This is the other thing that people are not don't understand, or maybe they're average fans or don't know. But when it comes to him and what he sees in talent, that's what he did in Houston. He found the Correa, the Springer, the Altuves. He was the guy that was behind all those puppet moves.
And he was the guy that made sure they were getting groomed along the way.
Right.
I mean,
he wasn't the guy banging the trash can.
No, he wasn't.
No, he bought them.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't in on that. But
did you just try to bang a trash can?
Little fastball coming.
There's a trash can right next to you.
Not metal though. We're good.
Yeah, right.
Burn, burn.
I don't know. I'm of a weird fact that I don't know. I have a lot of faith in Elias as long as he's the one making the decisions. He's not being micromanaged. Then I don't feel like the players will be micromanaged.
Yeah.
Anybody who's here, he wants to be here. He sees something in, and he goes, "Look, yes, you're a home run hitter, or you throw a cutter, you throw a circle change. I want you to keep throwing the circle change. I don't want you. Oh, it's going to mess up something that we think is going to. No, if he sees it, he's going to call it, and let the player be his player.
Right. Well, I think the thing that intrigues me is I feel like he's going to have the mentality. He has the mentality with a lot of these players, and it started to translate with Chris Davis in spring training. Is that I think he's of the philosophy. Yeah, 7 times. I think he's of the philosophy of the Pete Rose philosophy. Have you ever seen the video of Pete Rose where he's talking with Alex Rodriguez and Frank Thomas on MLB? And he said there's 6 things that I ever did in when I was struggling. I moved up in the box. I moved back in the box. I moved in closer to the plate. I moved away from the plate. I choked up on the bat. I choked down on the bat. Those were the 6 things he did. He didn't change his stance. He didn't change his swing. Pete Rose, he was almost the same size his entire career.
Yeah.
So I think that's what Elias is trying to show. And we started to hear that with Davis at the beginning of the year, 8.
I'm confused what was just said. He was almost the same size his whole career? What's that mean?
Pete Rose. So a lot of guys, you can watch him. Ken Griffey is one that a lot of people point out.
Tony
obviously,
you're saying
Tony
the strike zone is the same size. He's not standing up straighter. He's not squatting
No. He for Pete Rose, he was physically almost the same height and weight his entire career.
It wasn't like Barry Bonds.
Right.
Yeah. He didn't take steroids.
He didn't start small and get bigger, or some of these guys that pumped up.
Tony
Gwynn, Ken Griffey Jr. are ones. Even some people say Cal, to an extent.
Oh, Manny Machado, the size difference in him is unreal. Also, he was like this little boy type figure and came out jacked. So
right,
yeah.
but that's a difference, and I think that's where with the Pete Rose story is that he did so little. He didn't change what got him there. He just made slight adjustments based on situations, based on how he was doing, who he was facing. And that's what I think is going to come out is these numbers is here's the adjustment to make when you have these.
And he would have really liked our sponsor, MyBookie.
Oh, he would have loved it.
we don't have another ad read. Don't worry about it. So the other thing, Grayson Rodriguez, They were talking about him. The biggest thing that they talked about with him was, and this was a little concerning because I didn't hear this until now, is that they're working on his consistent execution. Not something I would have anticipated out of him. I know that they were talking about pitch development with him, but not consistent execution. That's a little concerning, is it not?
I don't know if I have an opinion on it. I don't know. I don't. I'm confused by it.
Well, Grayson Rodriguez is supposed to be your top pitching prospect, and you're saying that he has consistency issues. That's a red flag to me.
That's like a Ravens receiver that can do everything but catch.
You're Brashad Perryman.
Yeah, the Brashad Perryman of the Orioles. He's a pitcher that can do everything but pitch.
Yeah. But the last one I wanted to bring up, just another note, Gunnar Henderson. So this was our first round pick last year. Gunnar Henderson struggled against some of the guys in, some of the AA, AAA, and 4A pitchers out of the gate at the alternate site. But apparently, within 3 weeks, he worked up and was starting to actually impress even those pitchers because he was hitting them. He was being patient with them. And when he was hitting, he was driving the ball to gaps and getting, the equivalents of base hits in their, pitching situational, settings. So for me, I thought it was interesting to hear that here's this guy comes up and in 3 weeks you're telling me he's adjusted to 4A pitching. Maybe he's onto something with doing this. Maybe we're onto something. I haven't looked around the league, but if you start hearing that around the league, do we need more than one minor league team? Are we wasting too much time and money on guys that are never getting to the majors?
I just think it was.
Don't you try to take my Ironbirds away?
Nah, I think it was just a weird year in general, and like if we can get a consistent season and see what he does and everybody else, I feel better about it. But this year, I don't think you really know what we want to know out of these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ironbirds aren't going anywhere. No. Too much of an affiliation with Cal, and then
they are not.
They made their own little warehouse and everything. That place ain't going anywhere.
They make a lot of money on Little League.
Breaking
games
news:
too.
the Ironbirds become the AAA team.
That would be the show. Yeah.
Yeah, unless they moved them up to Norfolk because it's a better stadium.
It's a weird year for baseball.
Yeah.
It's such a
and everything else.
Everything else. You could have a situation where you have 2 minor league teams per team, and everything just goes away. They were already talking about before.
Well, they already
COVID.
got it down to 3. The agreement is for next year. It's down to 3.
I think we had too many, anyways. Compared to Bowie and not Bowie, DeMarva and Frederick, it's like the same level, and just have one location.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I guess that's what my point is kind of leading to. It's kind of interesting. It just made me think. I'm not saying it's the way to go, but I'm like, if you can do that with a guy, I get he's your first round pick, and you get that. But if you have a smaller draft, and you have these guys here, and they're not going through 3 different levels to get up here, are they ready? If Adley Rutschman would have started in AAA, would he be ready? We don't know. We don't know the answer to that. But that's my point.
I have a question. The Orioles have one of the most minor league. We
have the most prospects. We have the highest in the league.
And I think that's sort of like when you have too many options laying around. Some people get lost. Our gems like Yastrzemski. I think if we had
Yastrzemski wasn't lost. Yastrzemski was not paid attention to by Dan Duquette for whatever reason. When Yastrzemski came up here, he delivered.
I'm just saying. I feel
exactly.
I feel like we have too many stuff spread out, and we just
or you're paying 9 guys $30,000 a year and making $6 million with each stadium you open, and it opens back into Elias money grab in Western Maryland and in Salisbury and in Aberdeen.
Yeah.
If it's making money, we're not getting rid of them. Maybe they won't be when you won't use them in your path, but they'll find
the difference.
20 guys to make $30,000 to go entertain people in Western Maryland where there's nothing to do. So they're keeping it open.
I'm going to teach you something. The Orioles actually aren't in control of any of those organizations. The Orioles do not. We have profit sharing with them, but we do not own them. They do not make money for us. We get a little bit of profit from them, but they are all independently owned.
See all these little baseball intricacies. All I know is Thursdays at Del Mar, we got $5 32-ounce beers, and I can't recommend it more. They're great. A great time. Not to mention, my favorite thing about minor league baseball is when they walk around with bags of tennis balls, and you buy a $5 bag of tennis balls, you get to throw them on the field. It's great. A little toss ball.
Anyway,
that's what I like about baseball. Not all this garbage we talk about.
Moving right along. Let's go ahead and jump into our social media shout out. Who do we got chiming in? I know it's been a long evening, James. Who do we got chiming in real quick?
We had Kamal, Barnett, Steven, Kaylee, Joe, Craig Zero, Troy, Nick, Joshua, Deshaun, and Lunch Break Hot Take.
Also, I've never seen a social media shout out immediately before the 2-minute warning. So maybe we'll throw in like an impromptu show and tell here, since it's a little weird.
I mean, we could do that. We don't have anything queued up for
you
show
don't have
and
anything
tell.
queued up. I'm here.
No, I mean, he can hit show and tell, but it's all old pictures behind us.
Whatever.
Go ahead, throw up show and tell. Let's do it. I mean, we're here. Let's go. He brought it up. We're doing it. There it
All
is.
right.
On the
Big
fly.
news. These guys still on track to play. That's great. We have a Northwestern game coming up.
And that's the end of the show and tell segment.
No, I mean, it's kind of the end of the show and tell. I just bought some cardboard cutouts that'll be in the stands.
That was I have to give them credit. Like, I think that's
I mean, don't say it's innovative. Everyone's selling cardboard cutouts. It's the 2020 Tickle Me Elmo. We got cardboard cutouts. You want them? But
not every NFL team is doing it.
What
Not
is
every
innovative
MLB
about
team
it is you could buy the normal cardboard cutout that just sits wherever they feel like it for $55. Or for $75, you can get premium seating for your cardboard cutout.
We know which one
which
you
I'm
paid for.
assuming is front row. Not only that, but for the mere $20 extra, Michael Loxley will sign your cardboard cutout, and you can go pick up whichever one, whether it's the $55 or $75 one, at the end of the season. That is innovative. I have not heard anyone else doing it.
I have not.
And yeah, I've obviously bought 2 of them. Now it's all a decision on whether, my wife or Kaylee gets to be on the picture.
I can break the tie and just say it's me.
Oh, if you want. Let's add more. Who wants to buy more? Let's get it going.
Fred's not here, so I think the answer is Kaylee.
All right, Kaylee wins. She's probably putting the girls to bed at this point,
She
though.
probably is. No, I think that's smart of them. I think you're not gonna have the revenue from like the concessions and all that you know, and the ticket sales you normally have. So I mean, a normal ticket for them, you would know.
Yeah.
What's a normal ticket to a game?
A normal ticket to the game, 55 is about right.
Okay, so if you're
I
gonna
have
pay
$35 and $55 tickets, whether it's a kid ticket or an adult ticket.
okay, but even still, for them,
I
it's
mean,
the
you
equivalent
can
of you paying for a ticket,
Yeah.
plus the extra, plus Locks paying, doing the signings.
Oh, I think it's a great, hopefully one of a time collectible. Because if I have to do this again next year, I'm not buying them. It's over. I want to be back in those seats next year, please.
Now, is it there?
But this is a cool one of a time collectible. I think it's. I don't know why anyone would pass up this.
Is it there for the whole season?
It's there for the whole season. They're selling them throughout the whole year. The deadline for getting into the first game is October 19th. So find the link before October 19th. Upload your photo. They're there for, what do we have?
4 games.
4 games is what we now have, because it's 8+1. And who knows where that one game is, so it might end up being 5. I don't know how that's going to work, whether you're going to have a home game or away for that one. They haven't said yet. They did not do the scoreboard update, which they had bought this like multi-million-dollar awesome sound and scoreboard. Because frankly, the cardboard player people don't give a shit what the scoreboard says.
You can work on that during a game.
But they did replace something that matters. They replaced all the turf on the field, and they updated instead of it saying Maryland all the way across, they put your like new M logo that they have. So they're definitely still investing. They're still moving forward. We still don't know who the quarterback is. I don't think that's going to change. I think Loxley is going to make that decision day of the game. He probably knows who it is. I did listen to an interview with the 2 of them. I don't think that you can BS like getting along with someone. So I don't think it's going to be. Last year there was a lot of talk, especially when we discussed with Ellis McKinney when he was interviewed on Shell and Tell, that Terrell Pigram felt like slighted and overlooked when he was the backup quarterback, and he was like angry about it. So then when they call on him because of an injury, he was still angry about it and wasn't like bought in. These guys seem to be working together on everything. They're working out together, even off season when, it was all player driven. So hopefully whoever gets the starting position doesn't crush the other guy's emotions. Like Fred was talking about how he thinks that if Talia gets the starting job. Lance Lejeune moves on. After listening to this interview, I've changed my mind on that. I don't think that's the way. I think that they both understand they're going to be needed and they're going to play.
I think it's also situational. I think they have very similar skill sets, but I think Lance Lejeune brings something a little bit different to the table. And so you could put him in scheme packages and have him be in there. It's at
Usually
times.
when you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. But Alabama is one of the few teams that did run that successfully with the two quarterback system. So maybe.
So I mean, why couldn't it work here? You could figure it out. You could make it work. And the other thing is, Talia's junior or senior.
He's got 2 more years to play.
So he's a junior.
Yeah.
So and Lance is only a sophomore.
Yep.
Why not sit behind Talia and?
In fact, I think last year he played less than 4 games, I believe. So it should be redshirt freshman.
Yeah.
So he's got time.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like you have time to sit
as
behind
of now,
him.
Caleb's going to overrated university over there who keeps losing, doesn't have a defense. So he's still got time then.
So you saying that about with the football, obviously with everything going on, we still, who knows what's going to become. We're only a few months away from basketball.
Yep. Well, they backed up basketball until basically campus is empty. So they have decided that they will not be starting basketball at the original start date, which I think was like November 1st. It's like November 28th, which is the day, which is like Thanksgiving. And basically all college campuses are, instead of having Thanksgiving break, they're just like going to Thanksgiving and killing it.
Empty and cleaning out. Okay.
So they're waiting till campus is empty. So it's a like pseudo bubble so far. There's a lot of talk about a lot of bubbles going on, like actual true bubbles.
Yeah.
There's talk about like.
Well, that's what we said with it should happen with football anyway.
Yeah.
It should be a football bubble. These guys have their own tutors already. Why can't these guys have their own, give them their own building on campus, give them make it, their own cafeteria. Most of these campuses have 4, 5, 6 cafeterias.
We're going to need a lot of guard help this year, man, because we lost Sticks and all the top big men decided to drop out of the draft and came back. We got Coffee Cockburn coming back. We got Luca Garza came back. These guys in the 90s would have been slam dunk lottery picks, but because nobody cares about a big, slow center anymore in the NBA, they're coming back and they're going to dominate.
Right.
They're going to be somebody to deal with. And that's the one thing we don't really have. We got that one Swedish guy, the big 6'10" guy we signed, but we don't got a lot of size going on.
Well, I guess so. That's one of the things that I was curious on your take when it comes to basketball, right? So home court advantage, we've seen it go away in a lot of different sports. My opinion, college basketball is going to be hit the hardest.
Oh God, it'll be so sad. They're just gonna drape those flags over lifeless chairs instead of having a flag drop at Maryland.
This is
I
where
want to be able to watch that.
This is where I think they go back and they do the same thing that football's doing.
I'm gonna listen to Johnny Holiday on the radio, so I don't have to tell what's going on in that
Right,
stadium.
exactly. Make the profit, but I think what you do is on either side where the goal is, you sit there and you have get your IT group or your tech group, give them some money and say, make us something to put on the back of the seats that at any time a player is getting ready to go up and hit a free throw, we can hit a button, or you can hit a button on an app, and your person just rocks back and forth.
So you're trying to get like that water park thing where you put a quarter in and you spray the people on the water ride? You want us to like pay $1 to be able to like blink a light so that nobody makes a
Tell me if your person wasn't pictured there going like this every time.
Bro, I 100% would pay the money, but you just mentioned something with the Terps on it and whether I'm going to put money on. So you could have just said whatever, and it would have been agreement for me.
Would you do that if you could put your picture up there and have it be there, and you could go on your app and during a game go, okay, make him rock back and forth during a free throw or something? Would you do it if it's like $1 for the app?
Look, if it's $1 for the app, well, anybody will do anything for $1. But if you're paying for a cardboard cutout at $75, then it's $1 per game to flash it.
I wouldn't think the games would be that expensive. Basketball games aren't that expensive, right?
Oh, basketball season tickets. I don't have basketball season tickets. So what's that tell you about?
Well,
the
you guys
They're expensive.
I got great football seats. Well, I did. They took them away from me. 35-yard line, row 6, 7.
Would either of you do that?
I wouldn't, but I think they should just do what the Lakers do: just black out the fans, just have like the light on the court.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
They're going to find some way to raise money. I mean, I hope that this is successful with the Loxley thing. I can't see why it wouldn't be. I mean, there's 10,000 Terrapin Club members. I don't donate to the Terrapin Club because I don't see the
You jerk.
What are you doing for me lately?
You
Type
don't have
thing.
the return.
And I don't really. Again,
You don't have that much money to invest.
we talked last week. Let's be a bad guy again. I don't really care what baseball and swimming and all are doing. So when I give the Terrapin Club, they split it evenly over 59 sports, and I only care about 2 of them. So I figure out my way to make sure those programs make money.
You better care about
I know in the long run, they just take my money from football and fund all those other sports. But I at least feel I'm getting something from football in that way.
You better start supporting the Lady Terps on the basketball team.
Oh, Lady Terps are great.
They're doing damn good
and
the past
I've gone to
several
a few
years.
games, and better believe me, my little twin girls are going to go to a lot more ladies Terps games than they will men's Terps games when we have to start paying for tickets. I'm going to get that varsity club little voucher there and be able to go to all of them.
Right. All right. Let's go ahead straight into 2-minute warning.
I'm going first. See, I backtracked it.
I see what you did there.
See, everybody wants to go. You're going first. Why? You ran out of time.
We only got one.
Well, I'm gonna go a long time then. That Drew's got a question. He'll ask us something.
Oh shit! Yeah, why not?
Minutes warning.
All right.
Where's this timer at? A 2-minute warning. Did he do it? I didn't look.
I didn't do it. I
got it for you. 2-minute
Here we
warning.
go.
My Scott gang.
All
signs.
right. Ryan, you volunteered to go first.
I'm
go
going
ahead.
first. Why y'all fight for last?
It's the 2-minute warning, James, and so that you know the timer will go up behind. It'll be back here, but up there for you. And usually it's a slight delay, but you'll be fine.
All right. The first question is, now that teams have played, how do you guys feel with some are having fans, and do you think it's fair/unfair, or the league should have stepped in and put guidelines in?
First, so glad I didn't read this question because I totally have been talking about this. Why in the world do we come with this random 70 decibel thing when we have stadiums with fans in it? I promise you Kansas City was louder than 70 decibels the other night. Let's measure what the stadiums are with people and readjust what the rest of the league's allowed to do.
You have like 10 more seconds.
You go for it, bro.
Okay, all right.
I made my point.
For me, I don't disagree with what you're saying. My issue here is you have one state that's allowing 22%. You're allowing one state that's allowed 10%. One state's allowed 15%. It doesn't matter the decibel level because it's all going to go away when the first team that's at 22% hits above 70 and it winds up being 105. You can get 105 out of 22,000 people. It's possible.
That's what I'm saying. Measure it. And if it's hitting 105 there, then the rest of the team should be allowed to pump 105.
All right, Drew, you're on the spot. Give us a question.
Yeah, I screwed up. I've been thinking this whole last minute of a question, and the on the spot thing doesn't work. How about we just keep talking about the Yingling chocolate beer because it is.
What's your favorite brew of the week is the question.
It's that Yingling Hershey chocolate beer because it's really good.
This is good.
It is
This
really
is good. And
I'll go on a little rant for you, though. What do you think about the NBA Finals here? So, NBA Finals are getting terrible ratings. Terrible. I know I'm a LeBron homeboy, and I love me some LeBron. I know James over there hates LeBron. But on top of that, yes, he did whine. He walked off the court early.
He walked off the court with 10 seconds left.
In that game, did anyone watch Rajon Rondo? Because I forgot how much fun it is to watch Rajon Rondo when he's getting it. That boy might be the fastest player in the league. Sometimes he's too fast for his own team, and he's always too fast for
Rajon Rondo, I'll agree with that. Rajon Rondo
is
an underrated player, and a lot of times he's been overshadowed. He's had the injuries.
He runs
that
quick.
Have been a problem.
He passes quick. Oof,
but when he's on his point, when he's on game, he is there. He looks good.
Fun to watch.
Does LeBron wear a Chinese flag under his?
LeBron don't do nothing to make anybody mad for money. Again,
yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm going to get us out of here for tonight. We appreciate you guys tuning in each and every week. Thanks for tuning in, Fred. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. I know he's probably been watching in and out on the show. He hasn't been feeling good.
I swear I read that my bookie right before the show. I'm sorry, man.
He did amazing. I was like, oh, Fred's done. He's done.
Choke.
Screwed that
this
up.
Live stuff, man. Please tune to the next Shell and Tell. Me and Fred got something cool working out. We're doing like a fantasy style draft where we're going to draft 2 skill players, a quarterback, 2 defenders, and then we're going to put a poll out for the fans to decide who did it better.
All for nothing because there's not going to be a season.
Totally going to be a season.
www.birdlandbs.com. Check out all of our episodes. Learn about each of us. Contact us. Get yourself some Birdland BS gear. Check out that Shell and Tell podcast. It's going to be irrelevant because there's not going to be a season. Man. I'm just pissing off Ryan now.
Last one wasn't relevant because we were previewing games that got canceled. So whatever.
BigPlay.com, Big Play Twitter page. Download the Big Play app. Also part of birdlandsports.com. Follow us on all of our social media sites, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, at BirdlandBS is how you find us, at FredBLBS, at ScottBLBS. You see at TerpsBSBird over on Twitter. Go follow him while you're there. If you want your opinion or topic heard on the show, use the hashtag #That'sBLBS or send us a message, send us an email. Check out the audio version of the podcast as well. Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, go check it out. Make sure you get yourself a shot from this week's Brew of the Week. Thanks for tuning in as always. We'll be back next Tuesday night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. For the sick Fred, Ryan, James, Drew, and myself, and Brian, who was also out. We completely forgot to mention that Brian was out this week because of work.
There's a lot of people here, Brian.
There's a lot of people.
Nothing personal.
Sorry, buddy.
Well, honestly, I thought you were typing there until I realized Fred was whining that we were doing this wrong.
Yeah. Well, it could have been Brian. It could have been Brian.
Well,
but it seemed like Fred, but it could have
actually,
been Brian.
you're right.
It could have been Brian.
Bro, we got to find out. But
all right.
Mad about our takes feels like Fred.
Stay tuned for the last call for alcohol. We'll see you guys.
I feel like I did. Last call for alcohol.
You're supposed to say it's time for the after party.
It's time for the after party. I want everybody's job. I'm taking them all. Taking them all.
It's last call for alcohol. Oh, man.
I'm looking to get out of nursing,
All right.
so I'm seeing if this podcasting thing pays. It doesn't. So I'm going to stay in nursing, I guess.
It pays in alcohol. That's how it pays.
Yeah.
All right. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Ryan, you did a great job filling in tonight.
I did all right. I swear, that my booker read makes me so mad. I had a sweet practice run.
You nailed that, my bookie, during the practice run.
And then I realized, I'm like, you're halfway into the red. That wasn't you, bro. What are you doing?
I saw your face looking at it and reading, it's got Survivor, Super Contest.
Yeah, I was like, I haven't read this before. What is this? Look at this.
Fred's back in.
Fred's complaining again. Go
I
to
don't know.
bed.
Jesus is a Brian saying.
Nah.
Hey, tell
No,
us who
Jesus-
you are.
Jesus-
Tell us whether you're Fred
Jesus
or Brian.
is Brian
Birdland
saying.
BS.
Yeah, we might have to figure this
We
out.
need you to identify yourself.
Too many bros, Ryan. That's got to be Brian.
All right, whatever.
It's got. I'm calling it. You got to tell us who
I
is
don't,
it?
he's just
I don't
mystery.
think it is.
We're getting hacked right now. I need the FBI involved in this
Yeah, right.
investigation.
Oh man. Any topics you guys want to bring up for the after hours? Anything that happened during sports this week?
It's part of the Orioles, I think, because Angelo's isn't doing too well. I think.
You shouldn't have known it was coming. You should have known.
Hey, Fred. If that is you, he just molested your mic worse than he did mine. So you're good.
I honestly think when Angelo passes, they're gonna have to sell the team. I think Cal Ripken's going to do like a Derek Jeter, partner up with somebody.
He's going to need to partner with a lot more people because Cal did not make enough money.
No, not like Derek Jeter didn't put that much money up either.
But Cal made 10% of what Derek Jeter made.
Oh yeah, it's a different era, but I'm just saying I feel he's going to be part of the next.
I get what you're saying because there were rumors about him being in it.
Is Brady Anderson coming back in that ownership group then?
Please no.
Because that's
He very well may.
I watched Cal and Brady leave the stadium together in an SUV one of these games. So if you bring Cal back as ownership, I think Brady's coming back with him.
Yeah, in some way, shape, or form.
He's going to be washing cars.
He'll be there. That's all I know. They seem to be
Thomas
buddy
gonna be
buddy.
What'd you say?
He's going to be washing a car that says Earl Thomas going to be there.
Yeah, right.
I'm still looking for that job, Marlon. Get me out of nursing. I'll wash a car. $1 million a year, no problem.
By the way, your wife agrees with whoever our mystery Birdland BS commenter is. She says she agrees. Since when does Ryan say "bro" every 4 seconds?
100%.
You say
Apparently, you haven't been around
I
the
don't
guys too much,
I don't
which is
know.
weird because I feel like you're always around the guys when we're talking shit. It's Fred.
He's
spelling out
slowly
Fred.
and voiding him, revealing himself. That was a pretty sweet way to do that.
It was.
I'm not
going
gonna
to
lie. It was very dramatic.
Or is it Brian saying Fred?
No, it's Fred. Stop.
I know it's Fred.
Did he text you?
No, I just know it's
The
Fred.
calling us out on our takes is not a Brian move.
Brian,
No, he does that. He does that during the show. He does that when Brian.
Maybe the Orioles segment when I'm tuned out.
Maybe. So I guess did you guys see the whole thing about I don't know how much you any of you guys watch UFC stuff? You pay attention to UFC at all?
A little bit.
I used to a lot more, but yeah. Go ahead.
Drew's into more of the fake fighting.
Hey, whoa! It's all good. It's all good.
So hold on, I'm gonna talk
shots.
I'm gonna talk Drew's language here for a second. Did you watch last night?
Yeah, a little bit.
Mustafa Ali?
That's pretty cool.
I was surprised by that.
It's hilarious. Okay, so look, hey, Fred.
Drew, you got to talk sentences here.
Ryan might as well start doing snoring now. It's already coming, so let's start now.
Whoa.
No,
Hold on. Before you get into that, Fred says terrible take Tuesday.
Yeah, whatever.
Fuck you, Fred.
Well, look.
We
Fred,
did our best.
My head hurt a little bit this morning too, but I mean, I'm still here.
Oh,
that was a low blow.
Shot fired.
Look, I was cleaning up. Never mind. Look, twins are not as fun. Let me just say, I'll take the migraine over the twins. He knows. No, look,
my wife's watching, so I can't say that.
Yeah, I think my wife probably.
I think your wife would probably agree. No,
Oh, I don't know.
all right.
They both took her to the hospital once.
Go ahead.
I don't know how much you've been paying attention to it. The retribution thing, like, kind of like people made fun of it a little bit, but it's been
I
pretty
made fun
funny.
of it at first.
It is because it's kind of stupid. Like I thought it was cool, and then they gave them those little names.
Contracts.
Let's get like some explanation for people that don't know this
I
inside
don't know.
conversation.
I'll let the guy who runs the podcast do that shit.
Long story short, it was do you remember factions back? Did you ever watch wrestling at any point in your life?
You know, the Stone Cold Steve Austin Rock Sting days.
So you remember the wrestling you obviously remember DX. It was a faction.
Okay.
Right? The Undertaker was the oh god, what was it? What was the faction that he did?
Ministry of Darkness.
Yes, Ministry of Darkness. So there was a lot of different factions. This one they came out, they've been like messing and doing things technology and interrupting the broadcast and coming into the ring and interrupting matches and all that. And it was all they're trying to seek retribution. It's all because right now the WWE is facing competition again with AEW, which is the equivalency of a low-end version of what WCW used to be. It's different. It's competition for them. So you kind of get these wars with it. And so they brought in this faction to kind of make it look like they were messing and messing with WWE, and it wasn't. It was WWE's own doing. But they tied in this guy who has been known to be like
a good guy. He's
a good guy.
He's a legit. He's Arab American. He's a legit cop. He was a cop before wrestling. He did wrestling on the side.
Yeah.
And then took wrestling more serious.
And his agility is freaking amazing.
Oh, he's amazing to watch.
Do you remember Rey Mysterio?
Yeah.
Same kind of guy.
Same type of agility. I would venture to say even more agile than Rey Mysterio.
I mean,
if that gives you some context.
Yeah, it's kind of similar things where just athletes.
It's no Mojo Rawley or anything, but
yeah, it's just
no power moves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty crazy. When the retribution thing was cool, it's like, all right, where are you going with this? All right, and it kind of dragged out, but then they got really weird names. But I don't know if you've been paying attention. The Twitter game on these guys, at least for like a couple of them, and it's Mia Yim who's like the one, like the lead chick. Like they're trying to at least own it on Twitter, where it's like, all right, yeah, it's kind of stupid on the screen, but on the Twitter they just kind of been trolling. But like,
oh yeah, I saw that.
Like not pathetically. I don't know.
They've been doing a pretty good job of trolling everybody.
But then, so last night I kind of was like, I'm done. I'm gonna go to sleep. So I kind of missed it. But yeah, the Ali was the thing. He had a little hacker gimmick that I think
they went through the hacker gimmick while he was injured.
COVID happened.
Yeah.
And
by the way, if Fred hated our takes beforehand getting into wrestling, it's definitely going to make him enjoy the show more.
All I got to say is
we're all fired.
Fred's the one who invited me here, so that's his fault. If he wanted to control that, he should have been sitting in that seat.
There you go.
Because the other guy's the one that brought it up, not me.
Whatever. Hey, you brought it up beforehand. I was like, all right, I'll bring it up in the after hours. I know it's something that we can talk about. And we have a lot of fans out there that actually do watch wrestling.
Look, it's still pretty fun to watch.
There's times
it's a TV show with athleticism.
It's It's like a
Yeah.
man's soap opera.
I mean, that's always been the description.
Good
yeah.
one. It's a good one, man. Soap
It is.
opera.
There's some things
Especially if you like oily men.
If my wife was awake, she
that
probably
hairy,
would be
oily men.
commenting on the Jesus Christ. We're talking about wrestling. I can't escape it. But I think she checked out probably at about 7:45. So
But anyways,
Hey, we got
Get back
our
on
views. That's what matters.
get back on basketball. Whiny Bronny over there.
don't.
What a baby.
I
What a
can't.
goddamn baby.
I don't know
sorry,
if everybody
yeah.
would like me to talk
The
about
man
it.
goes to the hole. If he doesn't get the call, he cries about that. You're 6'9", 6'11",
All right.
280.
In some
and-
people's defense, if you go back and you actually watch some games, Michael Jordan did cry. Not as much, but Michael Jordan did cry quite a bit when he didn't
didn't
get a
have to-
call his way.
He didn't have to cry because he made the shit.
He still cried.
As
One and
Kyrie,
one.
as Kyrie would say, I wanted to take the shot. I was the one that knew that I could finish the game. LeBron can't finish the game. If there's the final shot, he's not taking it. He is not taking.
I'm not disagreeing with you with that. I think the thing that pissed me off, and I saw something on Twitter that kind of went off on that, and it said, "You never saw Larry Bird walk off the court. You never saw Michael Jordan walk off the court. You never saw Kareem walk off the court."
Bad sportsman.
Right.
Isaiah
the
Thomas
worst.
did.
I mean,
The only
I
time,
will say it probably
I
should
say, the only time that anybody's walked off the court was actually the
Pistons were
Pistons
pretty
against
fine
Michael
with doing
Jordan. But that's the only time. And Isaiah was good, but he was, in my opinion, Isaiah was never a great. Isaiah was really good, but he was never a great.
Yeah.
And so for me,
I do
You
think
look
they
at the
should have called
greats.
a technical on him walking off the court and not having enough people there to finish the game. They should have just made a point that's
right,
not
there was
the
no
worst.
sub,
Like
there
there
was
was
no
literally no
substitution.
people there. Yeah,
There was
you
no
did substitution. You left.
He literally left the court.
The
They literally had to call guys back because
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
everybody. So Rajon Rondo was quoted last week in talking about him
Yeah.
and saying that he had a conversation with LeBron saying, dude, these guys watch what you do and they think it's okay. And last night was a prime example. He walks off the court and the rest of the team starts to walk off with him. The refs had to stop the game and say, no, the
Literally,
game is
people
not
in warm-ups
over.
took their
Yeah.
warm-ups off to
They had
stand
to
on the
go in
court
there,
for the last
yeah.
0.6
Right,
seconds.
exactly. Like
He
that.
he sets a perfect example for outside of the NBA, but when it comes to inside the NBA, he is the worst. I would not want my kid to watch him do the things that he does off the court, not on the court, off the court, like crying when he doesn't win, when he thinks he's too good enough, that he's better than the NBA to just walk off with 10. Okay, it's 10 seconds. It's still, the game is still being played. You're not showing good
Finish.
sportsmanship by
Finish.
that.
That's what it comes down to. Finish.
But
You're
when
not
he
beating.
wins the championship, he can stay on the court all fucking night.
I can't.
Which he's still going to win the championship. It was one game. Jimmy Butler's not going to play like a god every night.
He is a god.
Problem
Jimmy
is, I
Butler.
think the problem is
Jimmy
the other,
buckets.
the supporting cast got hurt, like Bam.
No, he's playing tonight.
Is he playing?
Yeah.
I know the European guy
Yeah.
got hurt.
Yeah, well, let's see.
That's how they won without him.
I just,
Fred says, just giving you guys crap. Good show. Appreciate Drew coming through. I'll be back. I'll be back for sure next week.
Another one too.
It was a young reaction from an old man. That's a good point. That's a great point,
I'll be
Fred.
sure to make it back next week too, Fred.
Ooh. Look at that hot take from Fred. Young reaction from an old man. Only an old man could make that type of statement. So it was very astute of you.
I can't give you a high five, but I'll give you elbow. There you go. I like that. I like
Mask up and
there you
shit.
go. There we go. Why wasn't that?
Mask on, Maryland.
Why weren't we doing that the whole show?
What?
Why were we just giving Fred the shit the whole show?
I don't know. I
I could have joined in. I would have loved it.
We didn't know he was there till he hated our take.
I would have loved it.
He said, "Fuck off, Ron," and he didn't even spell your name right.
There it
Fuck
is.
off, Ron.
Wrong.
He's a foreigner.
He can't see the keyboard, so it's hard to tell.
His big hands getting away.
Maybe he didn't have his glasses on. He'd be all right.
Oh man,
James
All
got
right.
some 11 and a half shoes he needs to give away, Fred. You know anybody with 11 and a half feet?
11 and a
That's what I
half.
was told today.
Yeah, 11
Anybody else
and a
want weird facts going on in after hours?
I kind of want to.
I'm kind of. Why don't you tell the story of how you have 11 and a half shoes you need to give away?
half. I have 2 pairs.
How'd you get 2 pairs?
Did you buy 2?
I bought
Because
2.
he needed 2 per.
So then why don't you just wait till one wears out and then just wear the other one?
I'd rather give it to someone that can wear them.
Oh.
Appreciate them.
Okay. See, I'm big, so I wear through my soles, so I gotta wait for the next one. If I find a pair of comfy shoes, I buy 3 or 4. Also, I only buy shoes on clearance. That's why I can buy 3 or 4.
But most of your shoes because you're standing on your feet all
And they're
day.
all Under Armours, so you know.
Yeah, those are expensive.
I have a big shoe collection.
I say your shoe collection. You were showing us the one day. It's
Yeah.
huge.
Huge.
It's like the only pair of shoes
He's
I own that
Mr.
isn't work
Jordan.
shoes.
And when he means that, he's just talking about the shoes. He's just talking about the shoes.
What are you saying, Drew?
I was gonna say this. I'll probably wearing this pair of shoes for the next.
Those
like,
will look comfortable
years.
as shit.
They are pretty comfortable. They made it around Disney last year without like really bothering my feet. So
I got one for you.
That's a
Fred.
win.
I mean, Ryan.
What's up?
He just called you Fred. The seat's working.
It's working.
That big chair power.
But anyway,
Looking for a chair sponsor.
so we just saw that Texan fired their head coach. What happened? How do you feel about maybe another Penn State head coach go down there?
oh, please do that.
Go ahead.
Please fuck
Fucking-
up.
You're a terrible human being, so I hope you are bad at whatever you do.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second.
James Franklin's a bad person.
Franklin's a terrible coach.
What the like? So
But everybody apparently wants him.
Do
I
you
don't
know
get
why?
it.
Why is
I
it
know,
Penn
right.
State? Because it's a place where they like terrible human beings. They've had a history of terrible human
Clearly.
beings, and so they hired a new terrible human being. Now, college football is one of the few places where you can do really fucking well with Urban Meyer and his cast of murderers with Tim Tebow. You could do really well as a terrible human being. So
when the fuck
there
is
it
Tim
is.
Tebow a murderer?
No, it's Tim Tebow and a cast of murderers.
Look, that
That-
Florida
that's-
team was
this is
ridiculous.
factual.
Yeah,
This is
God.
factual.
You had God
There's-
and
he had-
cripples.
He was playing the average. He was like
That was pretty good.
he took the second disciple of Tim Tebow. And he goes, well, on average, we'll be a good team. So I'll get Hernandez, the murderer. We'll get the guy selling dope. We'll get all the drugs. That team was filled with felons across the board.
By the way, your wife asked why. Since when do you have a Southern twang?
Your mom's been here a long time. maybe that Missouri stuff's rubbing off on
For
me.
those of you that don't have context for that statement,
Kaylee's from Arkansas. Her mom doesn't really have that hard a Southern accent.
No,
Her-
it's hard.
Her,
It's hard enough.
her
I
dad,
I haven't been around her
Mr.
dad
Scott
as much.
Seal, has got some deep Southern twang. I don't know. This is my radio persona, babe. I'm trying to get paid.
I don't
Why can't I get
have
paid?
another beer.
You worried about my $60 beer tab? I got to get me a side gig.
I got to talk straight to your wife for a second. I asked her.
Put it on him so he can talk straight.
Yeah,
to
go
it.
ahead.
There you
No, I hope she better be listening.
She is. Just type.
She'll get it. She'll laugh at
I
least.
have
I
hit
like
the
making
button.
people laugh.
Oh wait,
That's all that
hold
matters.
on. I gotta switch this back here. Let's fade this over. There we go.
So, literally about like 10 minutes into the show, your wife decided to finally reply back to my Facebook message from like 2 days ago to make sure that she would watch the
Well-
kids. I could drop the kids off at her. Meanwhile, I'm like, I'm already here. She didn't realize until it's already on video.
So, yeah, well, she
Like
watches
one-
off and on.
A little bit too late now.
I will say that my wife decided to drop her phone
That's what
face
she-
down,
That's what
crush
she
her
told me.
screen,
Yeah, that's what she
and
told me.
then order the phone that she's been talking about 9 months ordering. So we got, fancy phone. Now there's no case on that. So we'll be down about $1,100. We won't be worrying about a beer tab in the next couple days.
Well, speaking of beer, we've been advised to book you an Uber at this point because she thinks you're drunk off your head. He really hasn't had that much to drink. I swear to God. Drew's got her rolling. Apparently, she's in tears.
That's all. That's what I live for.
There you
That's
go.
cool.
All right, we appreciate you guys tuning in each week. We'll see you guys next week.